Everybody. This is the Franklin County Fiscal Court meeting for October the 13th, 2022. This is our work session and we're glad everybody's here. We're going to start our work session with a prayer from my good friend Jack Brewer, retired minister from the United Methodist Church next door, and also a very good tennis player.
In the past, yeah. I would like to make a quick announcement before
Yes,
I pray. The Franklin County Community Thanksgiving Service is Tuesday, November 22nd, at 7 o'clock at the Bridgeport Christian Church. It is co-sponsored this year, as it has been the last several years, with our Ministerial Association, but also our Franklin County Interfaith Council. And we really enjoy that relationship, and I think it says a lot for our community. So November 22nd, 7 o'clock, Bridgeport Christian Church.
Okay.
PM, right, Jack?
Sam?
7 p.m., right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you just want to make sure.
Yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
we Catholics have early service every day.
Yes, I'm sure.
So,
Let's
be
pray.
sure.
Lord, we know that heaven must be a beautiful place if it's better than Kentucky in the fall. We're just so grateful to be a part of this Commonwealth and to be a part of Franklin County. But we know, Lord, there are a lot of people that are suffering, not only across our state and our world, but also in our own county. We pray for them if they have physical needs, if they're hungry, if they need clothing. We just know that it's not who we are. We want to help others, and we're so thankful that the Fiscal Court is doing that. I pray for every squire. I pray that their area of responsibility would be blessed by their wisdom, but also by the cooperation of the people. At the end of the day, may we not only please ourselves, but please you. I pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, my friend. God bless you. See you on the courts.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, the next item is the pledge. Jelani is a fourth grade student at 2nd Street, and I'm going to ask that as we stand and Jelani gives the pledge, let's do it silently among ourselves so we can hear Jelani give the pledge. Is that fair enough?
Yes,
So
sir.
everybody please stand for the pledge. Thank you. Andrew?
My name is Jelani. I go to 2nd Street School and I'm in the 4th grade. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job.
Everybody is a word. Everybody's a word off, I think.
We are honored today to have Sky Hansen, the Franklin County Crime Victim Advocate, and Kelly Dykes, the Sunshine Center Executive Director, to be here as part of October being Domestic Violence Awareness Month. As part of it, I have a proclamation. I want to present them this proclamation, and I will come up that way. We'll share this proclamation with you. And thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. And actually, more than appreciate the proclamation, we appreciate what you do. Thank you very much. As Reverend Brewer said, the county and all of us need to do what we can to help those in need. Domestic violence is a big issue, and we know it is, and we know that you all are doing everything you can to help those that are in need. So bless you on that. So here's the proclamation. The proclamation by the judge of the county of Franklin to all whom these present shall come. Whereas domestic violence is a serious crime that affects people of all races, ages, gender, sexual orientations, and income levels. And whereas domestic violence is widespread, on average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States, which equates to more than 10 million women and men per year. That's overwhelming. Whereas 1 in 15 children are exposed to intimate partner violence each year, and 90% of these children are eyewitnesses to this violence. And whereas domestic violence costs the nation billions of dollars annually in medical expenses, police and court costs, shelters, foster care, sick leave, absenteeism, and non-productivity. And whereas only a coordinated community effort will put a stop to this heinous crime. And whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month provides an excellent opportunity for citizens to learn more about preventing domestic violence and to show support for the numerous organizations and individuals who provide critical advocacy, services, and assistance. Now therefore I, Houston Wells Franklin County Judge Executive, do hereby proclaim Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Franklin County and urge the citizens of Franklin County to work together to eliminate domestic violence in our community. Yes. There you go. God bless you. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I have a few things. I think Andrew's going to put up something.
There you are.
All right. You want to say something about you?
But no, he has a slide he was going to put up with.
Okay.
Picture in picture.
There you go. So most common thing that I get asked is, what do you do if you know someone who you suspect is probably in an abusive relationship? So number one, know that that abuse is not just physical. You may not see that there are any bruises or bumps or breaks on that person. Sometimes the most common things are control, different forms of control or isolation, economic abuse, manipulation, threats. And then don't judge that person. No one gets into a relationship with an abusive person if they knew that that person was abusive. So having these conversations with this person that you care about is not productive if all you do is talk bad about them. Remember, this is still somebody that they love and care about. Stay in touch with the person. A text, a phone call can be a very powerful way to just help them. One of the main aspects of domestic violence is isolation. An abusive person is going to do everything that they can to break down the self-esteem of their partner. So when you spend time with them, do everything you can to remind them how much you love them, how much you care about them, how important they are, which can just counteract those things that are going on in that relationship.
Oh, you got some more? Okay.
Just a couple more
All right,
things.
go.
Let that person keep the power. You know, it's so in us to try to save them, to try to help take over and say, let me do this, let me help you get out of this situation. But the abuse is all about power and control. And so when you try to take over and make this plan for them, you're again taking away their control. So help them in any way that you can, but don't just try to take over and decide for them what they're going to do to get out of that situation. So the best thing that you can do is just ask, what do they need? What can I do for you? There's a lot of barriers that people face in trying to leave a violent relationship. There's threats, there's worry about money, their kids, their pets are a big thing. And just ask, what is it that you need? What can I do to help you? And if you can just offer some little thing, that might be what they need to help get out of that relationship. And just don't underestimate the power of what your relationship can be for them. They're told over and over and over again that they're useless, they're worthless, that there's nobody else out there that cares about them except for that person who's abusing them. So just knowing that they have that one person that is going to be there to provide them with the unconditional support, even if they're not returning your calls, they're not returning your text messages because they can't. You keep trying and they know that they can come to you. It could literally save their life. So
I'm going to add one thing too. They're most likely to get killed when they're trying to leave. So that's a really important thing to remember.
Okay.
do you want to talk about the Sunshine Center?
So first, I just want to thank you all so much for your continued support. We have a new building. We just had our ribbon cutting. It's wonderful, and we are full all the time. We've got to get 3 or 4 more mattresses because we've got a mom and 3 kids coming in tomorrow. So we're going to be a little overfull, but that's okay. We can make it work. I'm going to put in a plug. If Bill Crumbo were here, he would tell you that he keeps his hands in his pockets when he's around me all the time because he's afraid I might take money out of them. VOCA is how we get most of our funding for domestic violence, and they just took $58,000 from us because that's what they're doing with everybody. So if we have any extra money for domestic violence, we would love to know about it and have it. So I'm just gonna put that plug in. But thank you all so much. It is, I can't tell you how important this is. I hope that you'll come see us too, and just see what we do. It's wonderful.
You have a fundraiser tomorrow, don't you?
No.
That's the Simon
That's
House.
the Simon House.
Yeah, everybody's welcome.
Yes, absolutely. We do have though, we have an awareness walk, since it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, on the 30th. And we're gonna be a little silly because it's such a serious issue, but we wanna show power for women, so we're dressing as witches and we're putting witch hats on, and we're doing a walk from the Sunshine Center to the Capitol, and we're going to have some booths set up, just some tables to give out some information and things like that. So we would love for you to join us. It's going to be from 3 to 5 on the 30th.
And we're offering a self-defense class
Yes.
on the 18th for anyone who would like to join us from 6:30 to 7:30 at the Methodist Church. So.
Yeah.
Good.
Get your teenage daughters to join
Yes.
us.
What day is it
Good
again?
idea.
The 18th.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I've wanted to do it since
Yeah.
my kids were in middle school, and then we're finally pulling it off, so we're really excited about that.
Just one other question.
Sure.
What do guys dress up as? I'm gonna join the walk.
Wizards,
Wizards,
warlocks,
warlocks, okay. All right.
And I brought everyone a purple ribbon, so I'll
Thank you
just
very
leave
much.
these here so you guys can get them on the
Let's
way
give them a round of applause and thank you for what you did. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Okay, the next item on the agenda is authorization for approval of minutes from our regular meeting of September 23rd. Any questions on that? The next one is authorization approval of minutes from our special meeting of October the 10th. Any questions on that? The next item on the agenda is authorization to receive the county clerk's quarterly report for 9 months ending September 30th. Mr. Hancock. Welcome, Mr. Hancock.
How are you? Thanks, Judge.
Good to see you.
Squires, everybody having a good day?
Yes, sir.
Good. As you can see, our bank-to-book balance, which is going to be your excess fees, are sitting right now in the third quarter at $817,765. You've still got an election to go through. I don't look for that number to drop, but I don't look for that number to increase significantly. We have, on the second half of the election cycle, you'll be looking at approximately another $150,000. So we still have some money to spend, we still have to get through it, but I would expect your number to be above $800,000 for your final excess fees for the year. You also have the storage fees that will be put in place. With the storage fees that are put in place, you're going to have one bill due at the end of the year, but that will get us completely back imaged through every book we have. Every book in the county clerk's office will be completely imaged, indexed, and available next year. So everything you've got will be there. On the payroll, yes, ma'am.
Just a quick question. When you say next year, is that next calendar year? You talk about next fiscal year after July?
It's all the
I know you
imaging-
run on a calendar year. I'm just trying
And
to-
I think of it as calendar year, and us being on a calendar and a fiscal year throws me off.
Yeah.
I'm saying in 2023, by the end of 2023, you will have a complete digital index.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So everything will be there, be indexed by 2023. You all will have the responsibility of that bill, but after that bill's due and paid in December of 2022, I don't see until we come back and look at other projects, anything in the future right this second. Until we start digitizing our search units or how you can search, how you can walk into the office, until we go to something that's different than what we have, I don't see an expense in front of you for 2023. Does that mean it's not gonna happen? No. But that money will be there and be available if we need to index or we need to do something with your court documents or anything of that nature.
What about, like, long-term storage for that? Because, electronic storage and then backups.
Yeah.
And typically those are, you have a backup on-site and you have a backup off-site.
Right,
just in
which
case
is
that
correct,
happens.
which is KRS. We have to keep
Right.
it in a digital file. We have to
Exactly.
still keep it in a microfiche file. which I'm gonna be very honest with you, the microfilm and the microfiche, I don't understand why we're still doing that in 2022, but that's neither here nor there.
The only reason I ask is because it adds volume to that storage, and then those costs, you know how that grows, just, so we just need to be mindful that
Yeah.
that storage cost is gonna grow.
A lot of that's been based in what I pay on an annual fee, on what I pay in my software fee.
Okay.
So a lot of your money that I've been paying along the way will continue to be paid by me. It's part of my software. It's what I see, it's what I line item budgeted as. If it gets to where we need to do a big data dump into a mega holder of some type or some type of digital overview, we'll do it, but I don't foresee that at this point, not in 2023.
Do you notice, or has your staff talked about the breadth of records? So everything that's available, do we have a lot of folks coming in, maybe doing genealogy that go way, way back? I'm just trying to think of like where you put things maybe in an offline storage where it's still available, but not consistently available. If we had records from 1792 that don't seem to be accessed all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because that passive storage has a different rate than the active storage.
Yeah, I'm gonna answer your question, not answer your question on that. It's all gonna be in the same storage unit, but what I did not do, I did not pay the extra $100,000 to index base those 1,700 documents. So anything that was hand script written, we did not pay the extra money to. And indexing and imaging are two different things. We image by book date. So if you go in and say, I need the book date 1805 to 1890 A through C, you can find it that way, but you can't find it by indexing the Moore farm like you can today. You can index, I need Moore transfer to Moore transfer, and you can index that farm and go find it. These older documents that are all handwritten, to index them back, meaning to index them from transferee to transferor, would be an astronomical amount of money, and they are truly only for genealogy at this point.
That's why I asked the question about active and passive storage.
And that's why we didn't spend the money to index base genealogy storage documents. We help people every day. Every day somebody comes in, we do a genealogy study with them. We help them, how do you find it, start from today, and how do you backtrack it, and how do you get to where this farm had its origination of its deed. We do that every single day with people that are doing genealogy. But once a document's more than 60 years old, it's very rarely ever a document that you are using to do a transfer or using as a legal documentation. So.
Jeff, I'm gonna lobby for Ancestry.com to give us royalties if you're doing genealogy every day.
Yeah.
Jeff, real quick, you said by the end of 23 we'll, be pretty much complete, but we get the bill. What is that bill again?
That bill is the final indexing that I hadn't done, the final imaging and indexing that I hadn't done to get us back to that point.
And it's about how much money?
It's it's gonna be 172,000. I've given it to you all at some point.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember. Thank you.
On another note, I have, out of 12 employees, I have 4 of them that are on FMLA at this point for different reasons. I've got one that's gonna be out over 6 months. I got one that's gonna be out over 6 weeks. I got one that's possibly 6 weeks to 8 weeks, and one that's indefinite at this point. Not sure when they're coming back or if they're coming back. With that being said, to hold payroll, and this is more of an informational for you, through 2023, remember, I'm not on a fiscal year, I'm on a calendar year. When I bring you my budget next time, it will have an increase, and I already went over this with the treasurer today because I wanted to keep her abreast on what we were doing. It'll be $981 more per pay period, 26 pay periods, because I'm gonna have to add an extra employee to pick up the slack of where we're at right now. That's if this person stays on and all my employees stay on. This won't increase, won't even affect us until June of next year. But I'm not gonna allow you to file or sign a budget or approve a budget that is not complete of what it could be coming down the pipe. So I'm just giving you some precursor into what's gonna happen when I bring my budget in here and why it's gonna be a little bit higher on the salary base of it. I always like to keep you guys informed, let you know where we're at, what we're doing. We're bringing plenty of excess fees in at this point, but we can't do it if I don't have employees. And the employees that you still have over in the clerk's office right now, if I don't get them some help soon, you ain't gonna have them.
Understood. Any questions for Jeff? Jeff, as always, thank you, and we love the excess fee amount.
Yeah, one last thing, October the 20th, everybody's got an announcement. October the 20th, we're doing our second annual breast cancer awareness lunch. I would like everybody from the county to come out. It is a donation based, if you want to donate. If you don't want to donate, that is not required. It's a barbecue lunch, barbecue, baked beans. We're not letting Tamara make the baked beans. No, I'm just kidding. Coleslaw. It is a full barbecue lunch. It's near and dear to my heart. And I would really appreciate the support from all of you all out in the county. And anybody that would like to join us. It's at the Hancock Pavilion from 11:30 to 1:30, October the 20th. We'd love to see everybody there.
And those proceeds will benefit someone in our.
They do, and I don't have that name in front of me. I don't have that, but they are, all the proceeds are going to a local girl here in Franklin County. So,
Thank you.
thank you guys.
Okay. Jeff, thanks again.
Thank you.
Miss Annie, welcome, glad to see you, and, wow. What you're about to talk about is fantastic. I remember months ago, we looked at it, thought, we'll give it a try, we'll do our best, and it happened. So talk about this wonderful opportunity for the Wanda Joyce Robinson Foundation from the United States Department of Justice. Thank you, Annie.
Yes, this is such a great meeting to be able to talk about this following the proclamation and presentation by Sky and Kelly. As you'll remember, Amy Snow came to Fiscal Court and did a presentation for the Wanda Joyce Robinson Foundation and asked that the court authorize an application because those applications can only be done by a unit of government. And the court agreed to do that. We kind of crossed our fingers, but Amy provided some excellent narrative, and 8 of these awards were made nationwide, and the Wanda Joyce Robinson Foundation and Franklin County Fiscal Court is one of those awards. So tonight I'm asking that you authorize entering into an agreement with the foundation.
And we see Amy on. Amy, welcome. Congratulations. Yay.
I don't know if I can talk without crying. I don't have the words to really express my gratitude to the court for your support and just your full support of our board, of our advisory council, of our mission. And I certainly want to express my gratitude for Ann, just all the emails and phone calls and time that she spent answering all of our questions. I do want to say thank you to our intern, Elizabeth Troublehorn. She's the one that found the grant. And when she sent it to me, I said they wrote this just for us. But truthfully, never in my life did I think that we would get it. And it's just absolutely amazing. And we're ready to hit the ground running.
Okay. As far as Sebastian.
Yes, and I just want to say, I know that this grant offers Franklin County community the benefit, to the opportunity to really benefit from a positive family engagement strategies that are going to be part of this grant. So that's pretty exciting for both the incarcerated parent and then their children. Very, very exciting. So I know while there's no financial match requirement of the Franklin County Fiscal Court for this, will there be a requirement for our staff to do the actual drawdown and financial, submitting and uploading the financial reports and then the closeout reports? Just trying to understand, because typically whoever's the owner of the grant, that party has to upload those things because they're the only one that have the Dunn's information and et cetera, so.
Yes, that's correct. We'll be working with the foundation, but we will be doing all the uploading of the reporting, and also they'll provide us with the documentation we need to request the drawdowns. So yes, all that will be done by Franklin County staff.
Okay. Is there any administrative fee that is required to be taken off for those functions, or is all the fund going to be able to stay with the grant? Because typically there is that component.
All the funds are staying with the grant. That's how we've operated, for example, with our federal grant for Farmville sanitation. We want, every dollar to be able to be used as much as effectively as possible. So no, there's no administrative fee.
Okay. And I know it's advantageous really for all parties to understand their roles and their responsibilities in the process before it began, the process starts. So does the fiscal court need to put any kind of agreements, or, because it talks about that in here where we will have an agreement with the Wanda Joyce Robinson Foundation in this, there's an agreement has been prepared. I just didn't see it as part of this, so is that part of that process?
I'm not sure I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. We have already accepted the award.
Right, okay.
Right. And then what we've created is a legally binding agreement that also incorporates the grant award conditions. Everything that the fiscal court, everything that the federal government has asked for this grant has become attached to this agreement. And, I've already communicated with Amy to make sure that, all of her board and everyone involved understands those conditions, as well as possibly having their legal advisor look over them. So yes, I think everything that we need is there. I've also created a budget document and draw form for each request for them to attach their invoices to, because that's what I'll present to our federal liaison, who will approve each drawdown. So we'll have a good process in place, and we've learned a lot working with the sanitation district.
So is there a seamless process where we will transfer the funds, like we'll create a special account to hold it and literally immediately it's kind of like a automatic pass-through for that?
Well, we have a federal grant budget line that we use. So when I request that drawdown from the federal database, there are 4 different databases that talk to each other about these grants.
Right.
So when I request that, when it gets approval and we get that drawdown, those funds will be electronically deposited in our account, and then we will issue a check to the foundation.
Okay,
each
that's
time.
good. Now, this award letter that is attached here, the one that's not on a federal letterhead, it says that the award letter stipulates assignment of some specific roles: a financial manager, a grant award admin, specifically authorized representatives. I'm assuming that those are with the foundation rather than internal.
No, those
Franklin. Are they all
Those
us?
are with Fiscal Court. They are with us
So
right now.
who
I
fills
have
those roles?
staff assigned to those roles because it has to do with those electronic databases
So it
and who
is
has
Fiscal
access to those. Of course, once we have a little bit more knowledge of what our administration is going to look like starting in January, then we can redistribute some of those roles. For example, I've already transferred some of the financial responsibilities to Amy from Susan because I knew that was going to be in place. So we'll make sure to have the appropriate staff members assigned to each one of those roles. That has to do with those federal databases.
Now, typically there is official record keeping. So will we be the long-term custodian of the records for the period after the end of the grant? Will that rest with Franklin County Fiscal Court? Will that be with the foundation?
That will rest with both.
Okay.
I've made that a condition of both. I would, of course, maintain those records for 5 years after grant closed out,
Right.
or have whoever the grant person is at that time, because this grant is for 3 years, and so it'll be 5 years after that grant closed out. But also ask that the foundation maintain their records as well. That's one of the conditions.
All right. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Squire Muller.
Thank you, Judge. Amy, congratulations to you and your team. This is great news. Question, and I know it's probably still early. Do you have any kind of an outline how you intend to spend the money, as far as moving forward? So if people ask us, what are they going to do with the money? Nothing specific. Do you have just some general ideas?
Absolutely. So the grant was written to fund 4 full-time positions for 3 years. So that will fund a director of programs, a director of development, a social worker, as well as an Amachi match specialist. Amachi is a national mentoring program for children of the incarcerated, with additional funding for programming. So we have a couple of evidence-based parenting curriculums that we're looking at, as well as providing some supports upon reentry.
Perfect. Thank you very much, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
The amount of the grant is $739,239, and that is awesome. And thank you. And as you were stating, this is not your first rodeo dealing with federal government. It's not easy. So God bless you on that. But we really appreciate how much work you've done, and Amy, God bless you. God bless you, because you really worked hard, and I've been with you when there have been tears, and you needed this and you needed that, and God works in mysterious ways, but He worked great for us on this. This was just awesome. So God bless you for what you're doing in your foundation. With that being said, are there any other questions? All right. Yay. I'm a big yay. Great deal. Thank you. Okie doke. Let's go to the next item on the agenda, and that is authorization to approve a financial support to the City of Frankfort for town gown banners highlighting alumni and staff of Kentucky State University from the past years in the amount of $1,000. But and this was requested by Commissioner Waldridge, but I was shown that they're already up. So and I'm glad that we support KSU, but I don't. Is anybody? I haven't been in touch with Patricia about it. She just asked that we donate $1,000. Is that correct?
Well, you did respond to her, they would be on this fiscal court meeting for approval.
Well, right.
And there was a sample of what she had proposed, which here is what,
Do we know how many it is, Judge? How many banners total?
No, I don't
but
know.
they've already printed.
So they've printed them without the fiscal court logo?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah, that's not what's in the packet. That's not what it looks
Well, any thoughts?
Well,
I'm still fine to support them, but.
yeah, Patricia Walters is a good commissioner and a friend of mine, I think.
Okay. Well, we'll just keep it going. We'll come back to the voting session, see what everybody wants to do. The next item on the agenda is authorization to approve a donation to the Franklin County Humane Society in the amount of $50,000 for assistance with the cost of road construction to the new animal shelter. And John Hibbert's here. John, and I think I see Carrie and anybody else that's here. Welcome, and you all come up and discuss this with the court, please.
How are you all this evening?
We're good.
All right. We had the request. Everybody has where we're building a new shelter. It is for Franklin County and Frankfort, obviously. And what we have done is we have a road that we've had to build. That when we look at the total, we're really kind of looking at the services and things that we've done for the county and the city. So that's kind of looking at our building. Our road has already been built. A lot of people have asked me, why don't you all just wait, till the end? And then you can build the road or make it a gravel road. Unfortunately, the road was required to be built before we did anything. So the road is actually built, which is what has caused us to have a money crunch here at the end of our building. So So what we are asking the county to do is support us, be a good partner with us, and we want to thank you all for the money you've given us already. We do want to, acknowledge that you've given us that. Thank you very much. But, when we look at that, we started this, 5 or 6 years ago. We approved the funding over 2 years ago. We've had inflation that has bitten us, along with everyone else, that we've gone through COVID, and we've managed to raise, over $4 million ourselves. So, we are at the point of now asking to help us finish our last plans that we have for our shelter, and that is what I'm asking for.
Squire Moore?
What have you spent on the road so far?
$327,000. Is that right? I'm sorry, 365. I'm sorry, 365.
And what's the total, the sidewalks and curbs and gutters gonna run?
We're not having sidewalks and curbs. We don't have to have those. That was one of the things that the city, when we had that road, that was something that they had came up with.
So you want us to pay for a road that's already there?
Actually, what we're looking at this point, we had to have the road built before we could do anything. So really, we're looking at now the road's already been paid for. So if we looked at, yes, we would ask you to help pay for the road. Yes, I know it's already built, but really it's just a matter of funds that we had to allocate from our building of our actual facility to our road that we had to divert because that had to be done before we could do anything else.
Let's see.
Squire Tracy?
How much did you have budgeted for the road?
Originally we took it on as it was a city property and it was a city road. So our original budget honestly was zero because that's how we tended. So we had our contractors look at it and it came back at $185,000 was what we originally put in as like what we thought it would cost to build. Then after meeting with the city, we were told it had to be 24 feet wide. It had to have a certain, had to be a certain depth of 2.5 feet for the trucks for them to be able to drive on. And that is what increased our cost from that.
But when we went out and looked at that property, I told them it'd be $500,000 road at that time, as before they even accepted the property from the city. So they should have put a higher number in there than.
Again, when we originally negotiated, we were under the impression that the road was going to be built by the city. We were under that impression. And then after we accepted it, we started looking at the infrastructure, and the infrastructure's been something else that's been cumbersome upon us. And we put over $1.1 million into infrastructure, just moving rock, dirt, things of that nature in that area as well. Things of infrastructure was something very hard for us to figure out how much the exact number was going to be, and the road just added to that cost.
Well, at one time they asked the county to build the road, and our superintendent said he didn't have the manpower or the time to build it. So I don't know.
John, how much is the city giving you towards this?
Cities gave us $75,000.
Yeah.
And has the plan board giving you anything?
The plan board gave us $50,000.
Okay. Who uses that road other than, who would use that road other than those people from the community that were going to the Humane Society?
Sure.
That road goes a little further back.
Sure, there's Woods and Waters walking trail that's back there behind it.
Yeah.
The compost is back there as well. And then there is the station that's there as well that's used by the city.
The
City
pump
trucks
station?
use it
Yes.
a lot. City trucks store material back there. The street department does, so they're in and out of there a lot.
And one of the things, just as a point of note, the article that was written in the paper that said that we got rid of the maintenance on the road was incorrect. The city is still responsible for the road. That hasn't been addressed yet back in the paper, but we did not agree to take over the maintenance or anything like that on the road, which was something that they did try to get us to do, which we did not accept that.
Squire Muller?
Thank you, Judge. So, John, let me ask you this. You made a comment the road had to be built bigger than originally anticipated. Why was that?
For the trucks, we were told we were told we went as a normal road, just as a normal city road it would be, and then we were told since that station was there that it had to be increased to 24 feet, and I believe the negotiation on it went back to 20 feet. I believe, and that was originally what we actually got them to do was 20 feet, but it was really due to the city regulations that we had to build it that.
So when you're saying a station, I'm assuming that's something with the plant board, not with the Humane Society?
It's the sewer department has a pump station.
Okay, so it's separate from your facility?
Yes.
Correct.
Something totally separate?
It's on the other side of the road.
Okay,
From our
I'm
facility.
just trying to get that clear. All right, thank you.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Questions? Squire Tracy?
Thank you. When the project, before the project actually started, there was, I believe the Sally Port was not going to be built. is that still, or has the Sally Port been built?
It's been put back in.
Okay, so that would be an additional cost as well, right?
It was.
Okay.
A lot of our things we looked at, like with the Sally Port, when we came down, we were trying to figure out what we could do to make this more inexpensive, small, not so much smaller, but would still meet the needs of the county. And the Sally Port was actually the first thing that we actually added back in when we thought we were going to be able to accomplish all of our goals. That being something as far as dropping animals off is really, after talking with Carrie, it's pretty intricate to how the facility will run. One of the things we've tried to do in this facility is kind of, divide the animals as far as so that way keep disease down, things of that nature. The Sally Port was just a big advantage, rather than somebody just walking through the front, of the building with an animal saying, "Here, I'm here to turn this in."
That's what they do now.
It is, unfortunately.
Any idea how many stations throughout the city that any idea how many stations are placed throughout the city that they use? Are there any restrictions that say in their regulations that say the city has to have a blacktop driveway to their stations? Has anybody looked that up?
We were told, and when it came to the permitting, before we could even start, we were told that's what had to be built, so it was a matter, I don't know that answer. I don't know that answer.
I'd be interested to see, let's say they've got 5 throughout the community. I'd be interested to see what type of road.
Now, they said
goes to
unless
each
there
one
is
of those
another,
stations.
they told me this at the commission meeting, unless there's another reason for them to actually have a road there, because it was a dirt road before this was done as well, then there's not a reason for them to put a paved road there, unless there is another reason to build that.
Interesting.
Yes, it's very interesting. Yep.
Wow.
Okay, Squire Booth?
I just wanted to say to John Hibbert that I appreciate you taking over the leadership of the Humane Society, because I
job.
know it's a rough job.
It is at times like this.
Thank you.
I don't think that's part of his contract.
No.
Welcome,
it isn't.
John, and
I
thank
just had to say that.
Any other questions? Anybody else? Any other questions?
Was there something in our packet that maybe on this,
No.
that showed a budget or no formal
No.
request letter?
No,
or-
it's just a
Nothing.
motion on the agenda to vote it up or down.
Okay.
Same with the city, I checked with the city, and Charmaine just, provided me with the minutes, so that's what they did as well.
I see.
Okay. And city's given, what'd you say, 75?
75.
And the plant board's given
50.
50, so that's 125, and you need basically the 50 from us to absorb the 365.
Correct. Correct. If we looked at it from a standpoint of us paying the 185 that, we put into our budget of being that, yes, that would be the additional money we would look for that, yes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
All right, any other questions? John, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Appreciate you being here, thank you. The next item on the agenda is authorization to approve a donation to the Bluegrass Community Foundation in the amount of $2,500 for an anchor sponsorship of Umbrella Alley. Lisbon Hardy here with from the Bluegrass Community Foundation. Welcome, Lisbon, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
I'm glad to be here. First time attendee, long time observer on TV. I don't know if you all know what the Bluegrass Community Foundation is. Raise your hand if you know. It is a pretty well-kept secret. We are the fiscal agent for this, thank you for raising your hand, Marty,
Okay.
for the Give Me Shelter project. I think you all have received information on this in the past.
Yes.
One of the things that Leanne called me and Teresa too to figure out, they were going to attempt to start their own foundation. And what you all need to know in this community is we have a foundation group. It is a function of the Bluegrass Community Foundation, which is headquartered in Lexington, but there are many community foundations kind of in central Kentucky, and Frankfort has one. And there's a Frankfort Advisory Board, and I serve on that. I will be rotating off at the end of the year. But people don't know about this, so they could have spent a whole lot of legal fees to set up a foundation and to have a financial partner to invest those funds and do that. And you don't need that because you got the Bluegrass Community Foundation. And we have, the group, the benefit of it is that the Lexington group consolidates all the funds. They certainly have accounting for every county that has an advisory board, but they collectively invest funds for everybody, so we have an economy of scale to get a good return. You get more, the more you invest, the better your return. So oftentimes banks, and I can speak to this as a retired banker, the trust departments won't take anything that's less than about $500,000. So I'm delighted that we have this Frankfurt opportunity here, and we have a fund for the Humane Society. We have one for the Josephine Sculpture Park. Because of Penny Peebler, we have one for Parks and Recreation. They were going to do the same thing and go out and set up their own foundation and spend a lot of money to do that. And she found us, and we have 3 funds now that work for the city. And there's a tree project. There's several others of them that Parks and Rec are participating in. This CARES Coalition did the same thing. I got a call and said, before you do all that, please give us an opportunity to talk to you about the Bluegrass Community Foundation, and we can serve as your fiscal agent. They are not a 501c3 organization yet. They plan to do that, or they could set up an endowed fund with us as well. But we're holding these funds for them until they get this umbrella project up and going. I'm pitch hitting for Harry Carver today, and so I hope I can answer all the questions. If you've got more questions about the Bluegrass Community Foundation, please let me know. But I'm hoping that you know about Give Me Shelter, which is the umbrella project. You all have seen this. The CARES Coalition has come together to try to collaborate with all the entities in our community that have to do with these things, ensuring access to shelter, food, health care, mental health assistance, affordable housing, and other basic needs. And so hopefully we can find opportunities for individuals in our community that need these things. This umbrella project will be on Catfish Alley between the Cooperage and the Foundry. So it'll be a very visible display of the care of our community. And the Bluegrass Community Foundation is delighted to partner with them, as this is a collaborative community effort. We're asking for you to at least meet the requirement, the donation that the city has provided. They will have the long-term maintenance of this project, and their staff time and staff donations total about $2,500. So we would like for the Fiscal Court to consider at least a $2,500 minimum donation to the group, and that's why I'm here tonight. So what can I answer for you?
Lisbon, I think the most important question is, where do these umbrellas come from?
Well, I don't know that I know the answer to that.
Okay.
I think Teresa or Leanne could probably tell you that. But there are umbrella projects like this really in many communities across the country, and I'm sure they found some vendor that is the very best one.
All right. Squire Baller?
Thank you, Judge. Elizabeth, thank you for being here. Question,
Yes,
do you know if they've, has anybody become an alley sponsor? Do you know
Yes,
if-
we have several. I know my church, First Christian Church, has been a $10,000 sponsor. I think in the material, and I'm hoping that you all got this because they kind of outlined really, there's the project backgrounds on here, and I can read
Yours
this.
is prettier than ours. Ours
Oh.
is black and white.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, we saved
I'm
money
sure
down
they'd save
here.
money. You might be able to work on the Humane Society road.
That's how we're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Every expense counts,
Yeah.
yeah. But it has what they had originally anticipated, and I think the biggest one that they were going to ask for was $5,000, and the church ponied up that amount. But I think, here it is. The alley sponsor is $5,000. The $2,500 sponsorship would be an anchor sponsor. And then I'm trying to follow up with some of the financial institutions that have not donated to be light sponsors, which is a $1,000 donation. And anything above the, as I understand it, that sets up the structure, the umbrellas, and all the things that come together to put it in place, funds above that will go to the needs of helping those in need. So,
Thank you.
thank you so much for your time. Oh, Sherry.
And Lisbon, thank you again for being with us. And
Yeah.
you may know this and you may not know this. So I don't know how to direct this question. But it talks in here about the Frankfurt Cares Coalition. So What I'm trying to find out is what is the status right now of the CARES Coalition?
Um,
The supporting documentation just notes it several places that this is the project of the CARES Coalition, so I wasn't sure. The last
Yes.
time we heard about this, it still wasn't.
Yeah, there was
It was supposed to be,
Agreed.
yeah, I read that it was supposed to be a collaborative representation across the community. I do not have an update on that. I know they're seeking, reaching out to people and seeking people to serve on the coalition. I can get that as a follow-up.
Yeah, it is a collaboration with several different organizations, and it's been a couple of months since we last met. And at this point, we're trying to become a 501c3. So a consulting firm was hired out of Louisville, I do believe, to kind of help with that. So we're kind of at a stalemate at this particular moment, trying to become that 501c3 and then move forward after that with this project.
So it is not an official group at this point.
Once we become a 501c3, yes.
But
We will be,
but at this point,
It is not, and that's why we're
No.
the fiscal agent, because we have that through the Bluegrass Community Foundation.
Exactly.
We're
So
working on the
what
bylaws now.
Oh, what?
I'm sorry, is the,
I didn't know this was part of my
that's the
posse.
thing, I'm
Here.
sorry about that.
No,
I'm trying to find out because the last time we asked,
Yeah.
we kind of got that same information, and that's been a few months ago. So I was just trying to find out if the needle had moved forward, but it sounds like it has
And
not.
at this point, has
Holding,
not.
we need a hold pattern.
Okay,
It has
thank
not
you.
moved backwards.
That's an excellent point, John. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Can you all identify the organizations that signed on to be a part of the CARES Coalition?
The Simon House and the Women's Transition Center, I believe, Sunshine Center.
Sunshine.
That's three of them. I don't know about Rosalind or anything, but those are three that I know of.
The total group we looked at is up to 20 people, including high schools and all that. But the active groups, these are the 3 or 4 that right now are functioning to the best of my knowledge. You know anybody
Yes.
else?
No, they say
Okay,
no.
good.
Shelley, would you like to say anything? Aren't you pretty comfortable?
I'm not part of the, I'm not part of the CARES Coalition, but I have sat in on some of the information. But as far as I know, I knew that the bylaws, I thought had already been
Well,
established.
I don't know. I was told there was a steering committee coming up to look at those again. I don't know.
Has a director been hired?
Go ahead, Squire Tracy.
I was just asking, has a director been hired?
Not to my knowledge.
I don't think so.
And
We'd like more information too.
yeah, we always. That's critical. Thank you, Judge. One other question, is this a one-time ask of the court?
Yes.
One time?
Yes, because it is really to set up the umbrellas and the structure in the alleys. That is my understanding.
That is what the 2,500 is for, to set it up.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll go adjourn.
Any other questions for Lisbon or anybody else, or anything like that? All right, Lisbon, thank you.
I'm just pretending. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm so glad to see y'all. I want to thank all the people that helped me.
Exactly.
I had a call with her at the hearing. I'll do it, but I don't know anything.
Blair's been our guy.
Yeah, she's, I think, for the city.
I do have one question, I'm sorry. Oh, the community foundation in Frankfurt, they, several years ago, conducted a series of meetings asking for answers to certain questions.
Yeah, on the
On the
table.
table.
On the table. Was there any concrete benefit to that? I mean, did they present it to someone and?
I'm not really sure. I think they did that to help support the Bluegrass Community Foundation thinking to establish an advisory board here. So we successfully did that.
Okay.
It started about 8 years ago. I was not an original member of the advisory group, but there are now, I know you will know these names, but it's been in existence for about 8 years. Harry Carver is our current chair, and I'm substituting for him. George Russell, myself, Nash Cox, Wilson Rhodes, Jack Kennedy, Tom Dorman, Kristen Cantrell are the ones we have now.
Yes.
So,
No,
yeah.
no.
And then, I think, was it last year, Lisbon, they had another on the table? It was either last year or the year before.
I'm not.
Wasn't, yeah.
I'm
There was a
not-
follow-up to the initial one back in 2018. I think they had one,
Wow.
either right before the pandemic or literally right after it.
Okay.
Well, it's good to know.
Anything else? Elizabeth, thank you again.
Thank you all
Thank you.
again.
The next item on the agenda is authorization to approve a resolution approving a donation of $100,000 to the Simon House to assist with providing overnight services for the homeless population. John Martin, Mark Johnson?
Yeah, I'm not John Martin, I'm Mark Johnson. And thank you all for having us again to speak about Simon House. It's a very, very important and critical issue. For the sake of time and to make sure that I say everything that I wanted to say, I wrote down my notes. So please bear with me. I'll take any questions that you may have. But Franklin County has a homeless problem. I see it every day at the day center. And you may see it as well when you're driving along the streets and you see people panhandling on the streets. You may see it in the parks with people hanging out, those sleeping in the park, those sleeping under the bridges, those walking around in storefronts and sleeping in storefronts. So you see some of the homeless population that we have here in Franklin County. So it is real, and it's about humanity is what it's boiling down to at this particular time. We opened our day center in May of this year, and at the time, you know, we saw a few people that trickled in, but over time that has increased. And last month we saw 61 unique individuals that came in repeatedly for support and services just for the day center. We have 49 people, men and women, adult men and women, already signed up, you know, on our waiting list for the 24/7 shelter if we get that, you know, to move forward. That's a lot of people in need right there. We passed out some information. I think it's in your packet. If you see the colored information that we have here, it talks about the number of clients that we saw from July 1, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. 501 unique clients that live in poverty, and some are homeless. Of that, 484 are Franklin County residents. So Franklin County does have a homeless problem. Simon House offers numerous services, but the one that really makes us different is our case management. We don't want to continue to put Band-Aids on the situation. We want to stop the cycle, and we want to get to the root of the problem the best that we can. We want to give people a second chance, and sometimes a third chance. We want to help them increase their potential to becoming productive members of our community, and yes, even pay taxes. So we want to get rid of those Band-Aids, and we want to get to the root of the problem, because everybody needs some chances and needs some help. It's true, we often hear people say, well, why don't they just get jobs? There's lots of jobs out there. Well, it's true, there are lots of jobs, but with any job today, you need an ID, you need a social security card, and a lot of the people that we see do not have that. So we have to help them with that, and that takes time, and that takes money. We also hear people say, well, why don't they just get an apartment, go find something, live somewhere. You know, and it takes time, it takes money, it takes social security cards, and it takes IDs. So all of that is in need, and those are all the things that us and some of the other agencies in town offer. But right now, we are unique in that we are able to offer case management. Sometimes it takes a few months, and sometimes it takes like up to 6 months, maybe even a year. But we want these people to become productive citizens of our community and to pay back. That's what we're trying to do. We used to think that if we helped the individuals to get housing vouchers, that was going to solve everything. But truth be told, that's just not the bottom line. You know, we can help people get housing vouchers in hopes that they're going to get these wonderful places, but we have landlords that do not take the housing vouchers. We have landlords that do not know the process of the housing vouchers, and we have some landlords that do take vouchers, but they will not take people who may have a criminal background or who have an eviction history. So they have these vouchers. Our work doesn't stop there just because we help them get a housing voucher. We continue to work to help them get employment, get GEDs. We have a nurse on board to help with any kind of disease or any kind of horrible illness that may be popping up. So Simon House works efficiently and effectively with everything that we have, but right now we need your help. If we do not get this assistance, the 24/7 shelter cannot open, and you will continue to see people under the bridges. You will continue to see people sleeping in your beautiful parks and on the street and panhandling. So we desperately need to continue this work, and we need your help to do so. So that's the reason we're asking for that amount of money. And if we do not get the money, our day center will not open, continue to be open as well, and may close by the end of this year. So without your help, the 24/7 shelter will not happen.
Go ahead, Squire Booth.
You need the money for personnel, is that why you're
That is
asking?
personnel, that is correct.
And how many
Personnel?
people have to be there at one time? 2?
We need 2 for each shift, there'll be 3 shifts, so we're looking for 6 full-time staff and 6 part-time staff.
Okay.
Mark, you're asking for 100, the city committed some money as well.
The
Is
city
that
committed
correct?
50,000, and if we get approval here tonight for the 100,000, the city is 90%, 95% sure to give us the rest, some more, another $50,000 to $60,000.
Yeah. Okay. So
And if we get
they're
these
looking for
monies,
us.
it would take, and if we get these monies, it would take us through June of next year.
Is that it?
Through June of next year, that is it with the
If
staff.
we don't get the money?
If we don't get the money,
Oh.
we will not open, period.
Oh.
The 24/7 shelter and the day center will close at the end of December.
And at the end of June, it will close anyway.
Well, possibly
get
not,
the
because we
money.
will come back and ask you for more money, and to be in your budget, for future. So it's not a one-time thing that we're asking for. And if you look in your information, we also have a plan. I think Ann Crow, Dr. Crow did a beautiful job in putting together what it would cost on a yearly basis. And I think all the information that you have there is not just what we would ask from you, it's what it takes to run the entire center and shelter for Simon House. So we do get a lot of grants, and we do a lot of hard work and fundraising on our own. And this would just assist us in opening that 24/7 shelter.
Squire Baller?
Thank you, Judge. So, Mark, I appreciate this and everything you all are doing. So you kind of answered my question. So this is going to be an annual ask of $100,000?
We don't know what the amount would be. John and Dr. Crow would have to answer that, but yes, it would be an annual ask for some monies to continue this year. Because it's not Simon House's problem solely, or any other, agency. It is a Franklin County community problem that we have with homelessness. So we are just a vehicle that can be used to assist with this problem that we have in this county and in this community.
I can address a little bit of your question. I costed out what it would cost us in terms of personnel only for the 24-hour shelter based on 2 people per 8-hour shift every day of the year, and it comes out at roughly $1,000 a day. Now that $1,000 a day is on the high end because when I did the analysis, I based it on $20 an hour. We do not know what the market will handle right now. So we have also costed it out at $17.50 an hour. And Ann has better numbers than I because she's the number guru. So Ann, if you wanted to say something, that's the estimate. And what we're asking for is that the city and the county split that roughly $1,000 a day ongoing, because one shot is only going to get us through next June. We have factored this as a 10-month contract, 8 months, November, December, and the 6 months of your fiscal year next year. So 8 months, and then the second page of what we've given you is an analysis of what our estimate is for a full fiscal year, starting on July 1st. It's not cheap.
Yeah, so then that goes to $182,000. That's what would be your ask, is what you're saying?
And
No, we would,
365 days and at $500, it's $182,500. I'm not a numbers person.
are you looking at the?
You just said $500 a day would be our part of that, correct?
Right, roughly, yes.
So that comes up to $182,500.
Okay, your math's better than mine, quicker than mine.
I was calculating.
Yeah, okay.
I was calculating.
we're talking about a whole 12-month period. so
Right,
it's
right.
Yes.
Almost twice what we're looking at.
Right, but that's gonna be the new ask.
Yes,
Come
when
next.
we approached you folks when you're preparing the budget for the next fiscal year. I wish that it was a one-shot deal, but it's not. Yes, sir.
Can you touch on the grants and the donations that you applied for and received, and how your donations?
I can touch on it
Yeah.
briefly and can do a better analysis. One thing we know is that with grants, it's very, very hard to find a grant that covers personnel. They cover services, they cover supplies, they may cover maintenance, but they do not cover bodies. And that's where this is coming from, is we need money to cover the personnel costs.
Yeah, we do look for every grant we can find, and we have gotten both federal grants as well through the Kentucky Housing Corporation, as well as smaller grants from various organizations. We have done very well. Last year we had almost $250,000 in grants, but we're talking about a process now that's going to at least double and maybe triple our expenses from where we were. So,
Like today, we just saw a grant that was awarded for personnel, over 700,000.
Right.
Mhm.
That was for a specific
Correct,
type of.
correct. No, I get it. I'm just saying, does that mean they're out there and we just can't find them, or are we looking for them? And my next question would be,
We're looking. Tommy's been right.
Okay.
Hi, Tommy. Grants too.
So, let's remember CARES Coalition, okay? CARES Coalition.
That really doesn't exist yet.
It doesn't, but it's gonna come to fruition. It's gonna come to fruition sometime early next year, okay? We need to remember that that was put together to incorporate all of these agencies and entities into one group to give them more power to seek larger grants, donations through the community. So as that comes to fruition and we get that up and running, the idea was to be able to take some of the politicizing of funding and contributions off of you all, where we could donate to the CARES Coalition X number of dollars by the city and X number of dollars by the county, and it would be meted out to those individual agencies that presented to us. We need to bear in mind that we will get the CARES Coalition up and running. I have all the faith in the world in Blair Hecker. We've pushed it forward to where it is now. When we had a conversation, it was going to happen sometime early in the year. And I think that in its entirety, when it gets up and going, it has been proven in Cincinnati and Louisville that those things work, and that the grants that are available from those things are much larger as a whole than they are as individual groups. And I think you all will find that it will lessen some of your funding asks
And
in the
Tommy,
future.
you're exactly right. The individual agencies will still exist. And one of the great things about our agencies is we are no longer stepping on each other's toes. We are not competing. We each have a separate mission with what we're doing. And with CARES, we'll be able to larger grants that we will be able to use to help us with what we're doing.
So I guess another question I would have is, when you all originally approached us and with your game plan in regards to what you wanted to see at the new facility and the services you wanted to offer, what was your plan on how you were going to fund it? Was that linked to the CARES Coalition and the bigger grants that are available, or was it to come back to the county and just say, hey, we're going to have to shut the doors?
When we first opened the new building, and thank you guys for helping us with that. You have no idea, and what you've done to bring it up to code and other issues. We were looking at the 24-hour shelter. Honestly, I'm not sure we had totally addressed, help me out, Ann, with how we were going to fund the whole thing. We were hoping for grants. But then, as it grew, we realized it was a bigger project than we initially thought, which is one reason we're slightly delayed in getting there. Is that fair? Anything you want to add to that? We were looking, well, initially, we hadn't planned on having 2 staff every day. We now know that that is necessary, if not required, with the population with whom we deal.
Can I ask a quick question?
Please.
Sorry, I know I'm like totally out of order, but have you guys applied for AmeriCorps members or
We have
Vistas
2.
or anything?
We have 2 AmeriCorps members.
Do you have a Vista? Have you applied for a Vista?
Not Vista yet, but we have AmeriCorps, we're getting our second one, and we have Kentucky Career Center, and their time is limited, it's 480 hours.
Right.
And if you don't hire them, which we don't have money to
That's
do,
right.
then you lose the contract.
But the AmeriCorps members are, like, their living allowance, what you pay for them is very inexpensive. And so I'm wondering if you could branch out a little bit and try to get different AmeriCorps members from different programs, and that would help with the cost of staff.
Kelly, would you mind working with them and talking with them?
That's a great.
I'm just curious, I'm not saying that's the way to
It's
do it
another
all, but
avenue.
it's definitely a way to save money, for
Okay.
certain.
All right, Squire
I've
Moore.
got a question. I
Thank
don't
you,
see
Kelly.
the payment to the county for the building in your breakdown here.
Well, the payment to the county, and did Rick Sparks log off, or is he still on? We've been talking to him with COVID and all the other issues to make it, rather than 3 years out from the beginning of the contract, to 4, and looking at the payment for that being November 2024. That's why that's not in that budget.
The court, if the court will recall, the court agreed to extend that, and then documents have been signed based on the court's instructions about 2 months ago.
Thanks.
Squire Sebastian?
Thank you, Judge. So, trying to look at all of the things that we do in a sustainable way. We have a number of things on our plate. And I'm trying to.
What million?
Okay,
Today.
so our fire service is $6.2 million. Running a jail is almost $5 million. Helping the clerk out is $1.3 million. Helping the sheriff out is 3.7. We've got $1 million in health benefits.
We're building the road
And
department.
we're building the road department, and I don't even know how much that is. I'm trying to figure out the sustainability for us
Okay.
to look at this, and now, you know, we have gone in on the building at, you know, $162,000. I think the city came in at right around 100, so, you know, we've gone in, you know, I think we are definitely demonstrating the ability to be a goodwill partner. But I'm trying to look at this as, it's not only sustainability for today, but as we continue, and I've worked with a number of programs, and the thing you always want to do with the program is grow it. Because when you're successful, that breeds other success, and you want other people to come in and enjoy the benefits of what you're doing. How do we make this sustainable, knowing that today a partial ask for this year is $100,000? The full year ask is almost going to double that, and we know all costs are going up across the board, as everyone has said.
Okay.
How do we make those things sustainable, given that we're already assisting the Simon House in a variety of ways?
Let
You
me-
know, temporary assistance, we've come in and given almost $25,000 for that. We've put in $162 for the building. You know, we are, I'm trying to figure that, how we do this, so we
We'll
don't
have to
set
raise
anyone up
taxes.
to. It's not that, I don't want anything we help and be a part of to fail is the wrong word. But I want us to continue to be sustainable.
May I
And
respond?
how do we do that?
Okay. I can't
I'm
address
grappling with that.
the fiscal court's budget process or how that works. What I can address is that in many, many communities, homelessness is addressed at a city and county level. And they take that responsibility. What we're doing with Simon House and our partner agencies is saying, we will do the work if you folks will fund it. And it is a lot of money, and I agree with everything you said. And we have to take care of the least of our neighbors.
And
how do we do
that's-
it?
We
How do
do
we
the
do it?
services that private business can't take care of.
You're right.
That's what government does. We step in to help all of us.
And what we're
And
trying
it
to
is the
do-
least that are always asking.
We're asking for help with personnel. Through our grants and our gifts, we will pick up the rest of the process. And that's what these spreadsheets show. They show what we're doing and what we're asking so that we can fulfill the mission to help the people. Does that answer your question as best I can?
One thing excuse me, Mark,
Mm-hmm.
one thing that has not been discussed, and this was a gift, and a true gift from the federal government, was ARPA. We received right at $10 million.
Yep.
And this particular program qualifies for ARPA money. Now, are we gonna spend all ARPA on it? No, but we have spent ARPA on the proper things that it should be spent on, and all of it is helping the community. But initially, this 100,000 could come from ARPA if the court so desired.
So Judge, because that is an excellent point. You know, and I'm just getting I'm reading through the material, just getting it. So, and I think it had been electronically sent out at some point today. I just did not see it until it was hard copied handed to me today. So I appreciate all that. So with the one-time money, how do we get back to the point of sustainability?
Well,
that's what I'm asking.
That's the whole dilemma. So what do we, now listen, I want to say this, as we all sit here and talk, and this conversation is fantastic.
Yes.
But
it
this
is.
conversation is going on in every community, across this state, across this country, because it is an epidemic. It is a problem that many many communities are having to deal with. And the only thing that we can do at the moment is get you through the moment. But it's going to take a collaborative effort from the city, from the county, and also the state government and federal government. We are all going to need help in every way that we can. The reason I'm proposing the $100,000 from ARPA is to get you through it. And so Kelly Dyke, sitting right here, has ideas and possibilities. So if we can keep you afloat, so the ideas from other places and other people can come about, maybe we can keep you afloat for much longer. And that's what I'm saying. If we don't do it, if this court decides not to do it, if the city decides not to do it, it's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. It's going to get a lot worse. And
I'd like Shelley to say something about that.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, that would just increase,
Yeah.
you know, law enforcement responses. It would increase crime. It will increase so many other issues
Yes.
that will be a trickle effect as a result of not keeping this agency afloat for the time being, until the CARES Coalition can actually come together and provide sustainable funding at that point in time.
Yeah, it's not gonna go away.
It's
I
not
mean,
going to
Shelley
go
and I
away.
talk to each other every day. Every single
I hear
day,
you.
we get these calls. So it's not going away. We need a more cohesive way to do this for certain.
collaborative.
And,
They need to
it's
collaborate.
coming, it's coming.
Yes.
It's just, at this point in time, we rely on the Simon House so much for these services and these resources, because we have no funds at the police department. Sheriff's Department doesn't have those types of resources to give out to people, or, we're trying to figure out how to handle families. I got a call the other day from a mom with 6 children. I mean, it's insane how many, go ahead.
Is vagrancy a jail offense?
It's not.
No.
It's not. What do they do with vagrants?
They call us.
Mm-hmm.
They call us.
No, they do jail them.
That's
I will
the-
tell you what they do with them. They
call-
do jail with them.
Well, they
I was
do
in court
some.
on Tuesday with a young lady and her mother who was hanging out down here at the farmer's market, who had no place to go. She was there hiding out in a van. You know what happened to her? She got arrested.
Yeah.
And we told her then, if she needs to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. And we tried to work with the Simon House and Shelley and her wife. They do get arrested,
They do some.
and it's wrong.
But
The
we
officers
get
know it's
called
wrong.
most often. That's what really
Right.
happens. Until there's nowhere for them to go, and then, yes, they end up in jail. Just like the mentally ill down here on the mall go to jail eventually.
Okay.
They're gonna go somewhere, we're gonna pay for them somewhere.
Yeah.
That's the
And-
point.
and
We're gonna
it's
pay
not
for
cheap
them
to put 'em in
somewhere.
the jail.
Exactly.
It is
No,
not cheap
That
at all
was
to
my
put 'em in the
point.
jail.
That was my
Yeah.
point, yeah.
Squire Muller?
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
So, just to make sure, are we still just looking at 16 beds?
Yes. Mark, do you want to say anything? The bed limit is, from what I understand, based on code by the fire marshal, because Region I have a fire suppression system, which I really don't want to get in tonight unless you want to. That's a whole nother bag of worms. But we are limited at 16, and Mark already told you what the waiting list is. So this is the beginning of helping with a problem, but not solving it.
So, Tommy, can I ask you a
You
question?
can ask me anything you want.
So last winter, we set up multiple emergency shelters. How
We set
many,
up warming centers, yes, sir.
how many
Warming
people use
centers,
those?
yeah.
So
How many people use them? How many?
Well, so, here's the issue, warming centers, all right? As long as there is daytime staff, Salvation Army stood up, even for a cooling center. Simon House stood up because they've got staff during the daytime, Access has got staff during the daytime, Thornhill Learning Center's got staff during the daytime.
Are we
Right,
doing
I saw the
anything at
list.
senior center?
Yep.
Senior center is. right?
Marshall's got
We
staff
talked
during the
about
daytime.
that.
Overnight staffing is the issue. Right now, they are the only agency that's looking to try to bring in overnight staff. While John is correct on the 16 beds for overnight stay, and the Access has 24/7, we can make it a warming center as long as they do not lay down on a cot and provide them a bed
Thank
to lay
you.
on.
You're
They
right.
can sit at a table exactly like that, lean their head over on the table, sit in a chair,
Yeah.
and are good to go until tomorrow, whatever happens, and they leave. But we do have the ability to create those centers, and we did, and
Yeah.
I just had a conversation with the city commission that all of those agencies are, I'm sure they are back on board with this, they've never refused me yet, to double the capacity or whatever the capacity is as per fire code, per number of people in there. Not the number of people that can lay down on a cot, because that is determined by fire code is like 200 people per 200 feet per person, square feet per person. So those were utilized during the daytime, and I know they got used some because I had to talk to the Salvation Army about what time exactly they opened and what time they closed in the afternoons. The overnight stay, ladies and gentlemen, is the issue, bar none. And that right now, access and they are asking for help, and I think we're on the right path. If we can get through this winter into the spring, see where the CARES Coalition takes us, and then collaboratively as a group, push forward and see where we go.
Tommy, I'm looking at the thing on the wall which certifies our numbers, and based on what we were certified for is 16 for the sleeping and 70 for the warming center. I don't know where they'd all be, but we are certified for 70, and you are correct. We were told that they can sit in a chair and go to sleep, but we can only have 16 beds.
Yes.
So,
and that's where I got, that's how I got
Yeah.
lone male individuals off the street. They could go into the access shelter. The issue comes down to when I've got women and children is the hardest thing for me to solve. I could go to the Hope Center. The Hope Center is 260 beds. They've got 175 filled right now. They've got capacity. I go to somebody on the street. Shelley does. Nobody's phone rings more than our phone does at night. And I say, hey, I can get you to the Hope Center. Oh, I've got a dog. I can't go.
That's right.
I don't want to leave Frankfurt. My girlfriend's here. I'm not going to leave Frankfurt. We can't make them go.
Their support systems.
We can't make them go.
And we cannot accommodate children in the 24-hour shelter.
Yeah.
They're going to be adults. That's another whole issue. And another issue, not asking for anything right now, is we have nothing for homeless men with children.
That's exactly right.
So I guess my question is, it's a substantial amount of money.
It is.
right? And so I think we need to be looking at corporations and other people to help sponsor some things. And I know people out there would be willing to do it, we just need to go do it. But my question is that the best place to do it? Is that building the best place to do it? Because if we're talking about all this money just for personnel, is there not a bigger building somewhere that somebody could donate or whatever that would accommodate more people?
Tommy,
I feel like we're trying to, it's a whole lot of money for personnel, but you can only fit 16. And I'm not valuing somebody's life, don't get me wrong. We want to help everybody, but it just seems, if we can spend that same amount of money and accommodate 60.
Well, you're right, it's 16 we don't have right now, though.
You're going, one of the situations, I'm Susan Turner, I'm a psychologist licensed to practice in Kentucky for 50 years. And I've worked with hospitals and everything where we had 24-hour care. And 24-hour care requires so much for you to do it. Now, if we're only going to keep them for a night or two, put somebody sit in a chair and fall asleep. But if you're going to help that person to move forward at all, you're going to have to give them more than a place to sit and not freeze to death. And it is expensive. There is no question about it. And if you're actually doing treatment with people who have problems, it takes, in order to have one person there 24 hours a day, you've got to have at least 3 and possibly 5 people scheduled for that because of holidays and everything that you have to pay your staff. There's just, and if, to me, it is, everybody in this room should go down one day and volunteer. I volunteered a couple of weeks ago in the day shelter. And it is, you see people coming in there, and this was a hot day in probably August, maybe September. And it was a hot day, and people came in. They were dead tired because they probably didn't sleep the night before, and they did. We had a few little cots that they could sleep on, take a shower, and have some food. And that was okay, and it was good because, you know, people can die from being overheated even in the summertime, but we can have people die very easily if we have freezing nights and people are sleeping out. And once they fall asleep under those circumstances, when they fall asleep, they don't wake up. And if you freeze to death, and that is something that I've been involved with the Sunshine Center since it started with pregnant women and women with infants and young children. And it has grown, and I've not been on the board that long, but I've been on the board recently. And I do volunteer, I have volunteered, and in fact last week I went to the men's shelter to do a psychological evaluation on somebody they had there to help them to get the person to the right place that they needed to go. It is a problem that I've even had my friends, and some of you know my friends, who said, oh, we don't have a homeless problem in Frankfurt. You don't,
Well, we
I
do.
don't know what planet they're living on, but
No, and I appreciate-
it's gonna be, yeah.
I appreciate all that. I guess what I'm thinking is that building the right one to do this? You know, because
I think
to me,
It's available.
It's a start.
I think that's
right, but that sounds like it's a great place to do all the treatments, and we have transit that could bring them there if we had a different, bigger building to put them in to sleep.
But we're looking at the immediate need right now, and
You're right.
that it may be a little more longer term solution that they can, you know, budget and look at later. But I think what we're trying to focus on right now is getting them through the winter into this next budget year.
That's
So,
correct.
I mean, yes, I
Yeah.
think that's a great idea.
When we
It's something
started,
we've never done.
we looked for,
If you put more people, it's not gonna
It's
make
gonna be
it
more
cheaper
staffing.
per person.
Exactly, you're gonna have more staffing.
That's
Because
what
if you got a bigger building, it's not gonna be any cheaper per person. So you're still, the cost is going to go up if you add more people. And it would be nice to be able to, but again, the cost is gonna go up.
All right, okay.
Tommy.
Tom, you got something? Okay, we're going.
when we started this process,
Yeah.
we looked for several different places to try to find, you know, there aren't many people out there who donate the building, but we did contact a few to see if they'd be interested, and we couldn't come up with anything better than what we have right now. let
We
me
looked
say.
at the old pick pack,
So-
but that's just
Yeah,
not usable.
and the pick pack would run as a warming center. It's
Yeah.
ready to go. I'd spin it up pretty quick, but we did look at other alternatives out on the east side of town, try to find perhaps someplace that was exactly what we needed, and it just, to get everything up and running in a short amount of time to be able to help the immediate need, we ended up back at the old health department building, so.
I'm gonna say this, I know I saw it, I can't remember exactly, but Fayette County is looking at a $750,000 tent-type building for,
Oh, really?
for their homeless. But that's $750,000 for the building itself, that didn't include the personnel and all the other.
Utilities.
Yes, and all of that would be part of it.
I'm encouraged with what we do in terms of our community services and our case management. And many of you know the nurse whom we've hired. She's sitting here with us, Jane Bartram. And wait, Jane, stand up and say something if you
Take a
like.
bow.
Yeah, I know all of you all have known me, and you know, we're gonna try to make a difference. And they talked me to come out of retirement and come help, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm their new part-time 10-hour-a-week nurse, and
Thank
go
you,
over
Jane.
and, I feel like
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like a gatekeeper to get people, you know, do a physical exam on them and then send them where they need to
Yeah.
go to get to the right services.
Shelters
And
don't do
we are tied in with the Frankfurt Mission Clinic. And they are, Debbie Arnold is just all for it, and, you know, they've got dental, they've got pharmacy. Have you all been down there to see what they?
Fabulous.
I've been a member down there since 2005, I volunteered down there, and it's phenomenal.
We give money to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
We increase it
So-
every year.
Fabulous.
So, yes.
We're certified Narcan, we're certified HIV testing, we're certified COVID testing. Very few shelters do that. And we're aware, and this is the thing you and I've talked about, is the issue of drug use within our community. which is another thing that we'll address in the future. It's monumental, and this is one small piece. And let me say in close that if it's not Simon House, that's okay with me. We just have to do something to help these poor folks and help them so that they don't remain in their situations if they choose to be self-empowered.
And that's a great point, and I want to say this. Several of you are going to be back in January, and let me say this correctly. There is potential, and I would like to say there will be, but there is potential. There's supposed to be. Money's coming in from the opioid epidemic, and you can for sure tie homelessness and drug addiction together and mental illness, all of that together, and those monies would be very appropriate, so that would be another avenue at some point in time. Don't know when they're coming. They're already 5 months late from the last time we were at a conference.
Checks in the mail.
In May, when they said they were coming in May. So, but they're coming, and I think from what I have gathered that it's a substantial amount of money per year for 20 years, which very much could be used in this direction in some form or fashion. With that being said, John.
Thank you, and we do have our big fundraiser tomorrow night out at the Country Club. Here are flyers.
Okay.
Okay.
Squire Moore is going to come, and he's going to be Jimmy Buffett. He's going to want to sing.
Great. Well, we're looking for a parrot. Can you dress up as a
Well, I
parrot?
think he's got one. We'll see if he'll share it.
I just got one last question. Is this asked to get you through the end of June 2023?
30th, Yes, there are 2 pages. The first one is for 6 months, 8 months to get us through your fiscal year. And then the next one is an estimate of where we need to go for continual funding to maintain this shelter after June 30th next year.
At today's prices.
At today's prices, man, you raise a good point there that is a nightmare.
Yes, well, we've all been going through that.
Oh, my, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Mark. Sue Turner, thank you for your comments. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Tom.
Man, the whole club's here.
Yes, well,
Thank you.
It takes all of us. It takes a village.
It does.
It does.
See you all. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is authorization to approve a resolution authorizing the county judge to execute a memorandum of agreement with the Frankfurt Plant Board for providing fiber optic links and internet access to county-owned facilities. Andrew, you're requesting this?
Yes, sir. I'm going to bottom line this to get through it as quickly as possible. It's a really good thing. It's time to renegotiate our fiber, our telecom agreements. Our contracts are up, and we have 2 main telecom providers, fiber providers. It's the Plant Board and AT&T. First up are our friends at the Plant Board. Basically, it's the same agreement that we've had previously, except the price is going down and the bandwidth is going up. So
That's amazing.
it's a good thing, and we just need to renew it. I'm also working with AT&T to renew with them too. I'll be bringing that to the court in the future. Bottom line is, in the end, we're probably going to pay just about the same, maybe slightly less, and we're going to have more bandwidth, which is something that we need. We always have increasing needs. Also, for Squire Sebastian, I made sure that they include their SLA in the package, so you have that for your review.
Yes.
But it's basically just some updates, and it's pretty basic. The county attorney did review it; he's okay, and he can say anything that if he wants to. But that's it.
County Attorney?
Thank you all. It's a very good program, and I would like to thank Mr. Tippett for his efforts to, again, increase bandwidth and still reduce cost a bit. So good job.
Nope.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions?
So it's budgeted expense?
Andrew?
Yes, sir. It's we're budgeting it. Yep. It's all in the budget.
Okay, doke. Next, authorization to approve a resolution authorizing the filing of an application with the Kentucky Fire Commission grant program for grant funds to be used for the purchase of extrication equipment for the fire department. Chief Brewer, and you've got a couple of them on here, too.
Yes, sir, Judge. Thank you. Good evening, Court. Hope everyone's doing okay.
Yes, sir.
This grant is through the Kentucky Fire Commission. They just put this out for all fire departments to apply for a combi tool, which is an extrication tool that's also a cutter and a spreader both. We are needing to upgrade our equipment. It's something that's in the plan, and this would be a great opportunity for it. A lot of our extrication equipment, other than a couple of pieces we've been able to replace the last couple of years, are 18 to 20 years old.
Okay, any questions?
No.
You're going, Ann is helping you with this, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and the next one too?
Yes, the next one is the KCO insurance grant. Sorry, I'm looking over my other phone. I don't have on paperwork with me. We got called out for a minute. So from my understanding, this grant is targeted for workplace injury prevention. So what we're planning to apply for is a lifting device that helps us lift patients who are may fall and are physically unable to help themselves up. Sometimes when they fall in those positions, it can be very awkward and very difficult to lift them. And this device is something that's designed to go on the patient and allow us to be able to lift them with better lifting practices. And so it will hopefully help prevent any strains or sprains from lifting patients. And also be maybe a little bit easier than the way we've had to lift some patients in the past. So that's the goal of this grant.
Squire Sebastian?
Thank you, Judge. Chief, I just wanted to find out if you knew what the life expectancy of this type of equipment, because as you know, when somebody goes down, it's almost dead weight to try to get them up. And it's really a challenge to lift them without injuring someone who's doing the lifting. And then how many units will be purchased? So life expectancy and number of units to be purchased.
The life expectancy, I would expect these to last, I would say at least 5+ years, depending on the number of uses and the sizes of the patients. They have different models, which we would, our main goal is to get the ones for the larger size patients.
Okay.
These are designed to be deconnable, so if they were to be exposed to any bodily fluid or anything, we can decon these at the station, reclean them, put them back in service.
Right.
And the goal is, to do this grant, we would put one on every frontline apparatus.
So that's how many?
6.
6, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
The court may remember a couple of years ago, we applied for this grant for the jail for some slip and fall mats and put around some areas where they had like an ice machine and some water, and we were awarded that as well.
Okay, Chief, the property out there by Station 10.
Yes, so the fire committee met on September 21st. This was one of the topics that was discussed. When Station 10 was built, the land was purchased and the station was built, I think the goal has always been to utilize the land next to Station 10 there for something in the future for the fire department. And we've been in the building for 6 years now and looking to the future. We would love to be able to utilize that for something related to training. There are several grants out there that we can look at applying for training facilities or things of that nature. But one of the first questions on every grant is going to be, do you have the land or the place to put this if you're awarded the grant? So that's what this item is about, is trying to get that squared away so that we can look at filing for grants to improve our training abilities within the department.
Squire Moore and I were on the court 10, 12 years ago when this land was bought, I believe, and that was the original purpose for that land, is to do for training. Everybody
I know
talking about
It's on to the east of the fire station.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that.
So how much space, is it all of it you think you would need, Chief? Judge, I'm sorry, I didn't ask.
No, that's fine, you're fine, you're
Sorry.
fine, you're fine, you're
Thank
fine.
you.
Go ahead.
I know our strategic planning committee has discussed like potentially a repair facility, you know, overall for all county vehicles at some point. Of course, this has been quite some time because we haven't met recently, but that's been one of those ideas in the hopper. And since this was already land, is it the entire area that's contiguous to the fire station? Would there be any area that you may not need for those training purposes? Are you gonna build a fire tower? You know, are you gonna have an enclosed place for like a controlled burn? Is that in the thought process, I guess is what I'm kind of trying to figure out.
So my thought process would be to have some type of facility that we could do some live fire training, possibly utilize it for, in the future, the possibility of storage of fire equipment if needed, if we needed to construct a structure for that. I'm sure if you've been up there and looked at that site, the parcel show, I think it's maybe an acre and a half, but part of that is a retention basin down over the hill. There's a steep hill off the back of it, so there's a very small portion that would really be flat and level enough to utilize for any types of facilities like that.
Okay. Squire Moore, I know the company did some work up there for one of the buildings that's sitting up there where the sheriff is. Isn't it all rock, pretty much? Is it
Well,
rock on the back end?
There's some fill put in there. The county graded that fill out right there.
Okay. On that area?
Yeah.
Okay, I wondered, because everything else, I kept hearing
Yeah.
about that at
Oh,
home,
yeah,
it was all
rock.
rock, hard rock. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Chief? All right, thank you, Chief. What about engine number 17? Is there something that you need to tell us about 17?
Yes, also something that was discussed in the fire committee on September 21st. We've had engine 17 that's been surplus for a while. We listed it on Gov Deals multiple times. It never completed a sale, never sold on there. So we were discussing the options of what to do with that engine, and it was discussed and agreed upon by the fire committee that it would be a great opportunity to donate that engine to a department in need from the Eastern Kentucky flooding. So that is the intention of that. We have spoken with Letcher County. Deputy Judge Harrod has communicated with them, and they have departments that have lost their entire fleet, so that would be the goal, to send it to them.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, Chief came up with that idea, thinking that, and I think that's fantastic to help them out. Tamara's looking into it. Rick, you came on. Do you have any thoughts about it?
He loves
I
it.
just want court and the court as well as the chief and otherwise, I'm, as I stated earlier, very familiar with that part of the county. And they lost things that, y'all, I'm telling you, you can't imagine right now going up the North Fork of the Kentucky River, the damage that did. And the ability to be able to transfer this to another locality, to allow them to assign it to their local fire departments, et cetera. Chief, Ms. Harrod, the court in general, it's just a valuable service that we're providing not only to the people of Franklin County, but to reach out to your neighbors. So I just wanted personally to thank you all for it. That was all.
Would we need to put that into other business?
No, so this was surplus.
It was already surplus?
By the court back in April 2021.
Okay, that's right.
So since the court already took action to surplus it, and statute says that if you're unable to sell something by public auction, then you can dispose of it best interest of the public. And I felt like that kind of qualified. So, I think we're good.
There was a question about the transferal to a department that was volunteer. Has that been addressed?
Yes, we are going to actually transfer it to Letcher County Fiscal Court, and since Letcher County Fiscal Court funds the volunteer fire department, then they will then make that transfer. But to keep it clean, it's one court to another.
Well, it's publicly funded, but it's manned by volunteers, so that's the way I got it. Or woman.
And I'd like to thank my colleague Jamie Hatton up there who helped coordinate that with the judge executive's office in Whitesburg.
Great.
That's awesome. Chief, thank you. And I would appreciate, I think the community would like to see when that is transported and at the Letcher County Fire Department where it's going to be used, that we have a picture with you all presenting it to them, if you would.
Publicity, yes.
Okay?
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Marty wants to ride up too.
I already asked to drive it and they said no.
Yeah, Tamara asked to drive it in that committee meeting.
That
We
would
said
be
no.
great.
wait.
I'll take you with me, Mark.
One piece, sir.
All right, the next item on the agenda is a very exciting action. This is authorization to approve a resolution relating to the acquisition of land identified as a 129.99 acre property located at 67 Buena Vista Drive, further known as property valuation administrator map number 095-00-00-016.02 from the Duckers Links LLC in the amount of $850,000. And Miss Ann, I know there's going to be a lot of questions, but I want you to, if you would, tell us about buying this and what can or can't we should say as part of this.
I believe the acquisition of this property is rightly for benefit of the public good. One of the possibilities is that should we decide to proceed with a conversion process for the Lakeview Park Master Plan, that this property might be used in consideration of that process with the National Park Service.
Okay, you all asked me to kind of find out from Ann what you can and can't say, should say, and as a judge that has been around a while and seen these types of things come and go without being utilized, I think this is an extremely exciting moment for the future of our community, which are many different ways it can go, and but any way it goes, it's going to be fantastic for our community. So it's a big day. This is a big day. This is a big event, and an excellent price for this amount of property. The future use is unlimited. Okay, with the next item on the agenda, authorization to approve a salary increase for Lakeview Park Golf Course green superintendent. And Charlie, I'll start off with saying that the park committee met and talked about this. We tried to get the compensation committee to meet on it. There were some issues we couldn't meet, but 2 of the 3 members of the park committee were part of the compensation committee. So, and it was approved by those 2 members, I being one, Squire Muller being the other, and we did try to pursue it in the normal sequence, but most importantly, I'll let you talk about the employee, but he is a fantastic, and we are so grateful for this employee. Go ahead, Charlie.
Thank you, Judge, and thank you, Court, for taking this into consideration. Hopefully you had a chance to read the abstract and the background, how valuable this employee is to us in Lakeview Park and the golf operations. I mean, he's definitely one of our MVPs. And, I'll be happy.
He has all kinds of certifications, I'm sure, as well.
He does. He is he's highly educated.
Yeah. You can't do this without being trained in about 10 different
Gotta have him. Yeah.
parts.
Yes, yeah. But I'll be happy to answer any questions, but I appreciate you all taking this into consideration.
Squire Booth?
I understand from, that he has been offered a job elsewhere. Can you tell us where that is? Or is that kosher to do?
I'm not sure if that's kosher, but he has been offered jobs, more than one at other times, yes.
And he's turned them down and stayed with us,
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, No other questions? Now, this is an exciting moment for the court. Historic. We bring Amy to the court.
There we go.
Wow.
Hello.
Lambert and I have been here 24 years, and Susan has been here every single time during our tenure, right, Lambert? Or I've been here 24,
I've been
you've been
here
here 20. And Amy, this is historic. Welcome, Amy!
She's even going to the podium. I mean, look at that.
I've waited for this moment.
That was great.
We had
Love it.
So the first thing, budget transfers. These are the 3 transfers that will be needed if you vote on these 3 things. The first being the land acquisition for $850,000. The second being the donation to the Franklin County Humane Society for $50,000 for their road construction. And then the third, $100,000 for the donation to the Salmon House. All 3 of these are already budgeted. They were part of the ARPA in the contingency line, so we would be decreasing that and then increasing the appropriate lines.
Okay, go to the next one.
Okay. And so we have finished the 3rd quarter. So the next report are the 3 months ending September 30th. The receipts at 5.5 million, expenditures at 8.9, giving us a shortage of 3.4. But if you add in your fund balance, that ends with 18.9 million.
Oh, well. It's more than I thought. That's good.
On receipts, and I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me. Are the receipts up?
The receipts are up from last year. They were at 4.9 last year, the same time this time last year.
That's important to our ears, is to hear that receipts are up. Okay?
And then the next item, you've got your revenue and expenses as of October 10th. Any questions on those?
Okay, payment of claims, are there any questions about, on the payment of claims? Squire Sebastian.
Thank you, Judge. I do have one, Madam Treasurer, on page 1 of the document under General Fund Court Bills. It is item 0150204445, which is called Office Supplies for the Coroner, and it's for towing. Now, the last time I checked, towing was not an office supply.
That's right.
So I'm just checking on that because that's just unusual.
Unless you work out of your car.
I just find that just unusual. So I'm just asking because it says it's also towed to the sheriff's office impound lot, so I don't, is it a coroner vehicle that we're not, are we showing this on our inventory list that we have a rogue?
So this was a death investigation that the coroner was required to tow this vehicle to a specific place. And because it's not his vehicle, it wouldn't go under his vehicle maintenance line, and the coroner's office only has a few lines. That's the best place we could put it. If you all would rather have it charged to another account, we could certainly move it. But that was really, it's such an anomaly. This never happens, so we just kind of put it there.
Thank God it
So,
didn't happen.
right.
Absolutely, that's the thing.
Right.
I mean, I think it's just important for all of us to know the
Yes.
circumstances because it would look odd to the general public if they pulled this document and said, oh, that's really
Yeah. Well,
atypical,
Well,
that it's
it
not an
is,
office supply.
We
Right.
are the
I'm just-
fiscal court.
Right. Well,
no.
our accounts payable clerk, Kim Cox, she was honest, she knew I would question it. So she had already gotten the information from the coroner, attached the documentation to the invoice and wrote on it. So, next year when the auditors pull it, if that's one of the invoices that they want to audit, they'll see the explanation there.
That's the whole point. I'm
Yep.
just asking it for
Yes.
that purpose because
Okay.
that'll be a
We
flag.
won't remember
right there.
next year, so.
It'll
we
just
have
be a
to
red flag
document
for
it.
someone. All right, thank you. Thank
Good
you.
idea.
Anything else? Thank you, Miss Amy. Welcome.
We made it too easy for her for tonight.
Yeah.
Normally, Lambert has a button over here called the easy button, and you push it once you're finished.
There.
That was easy.
You know,
Well,
I
thank
got
you,
that
Amy.
button too because you had one.
Let's go to other business. Timber, you have something to, say?
I do. Andrew, could you bring that up on the screen, please? This Saturday, October 15th, beginning at 1 o'clock, we are going to have an event at Ward Oaks Amphitheater in honor of Kayla and Tyler Smith, and you all know Kelly and Vince Lang. In remembrance of Riker, we're going to have an opening ceremony around 1:15-ish. A proclamation will be presented. We'll have a couple of speakers, and then there will be a 1-mile walk that in remembrance. And then there will also be a couple of food trucks. It's Brenneman's Farm to Table truck, and Taylor Bells will be there also. So it's in memory of Riker and other families who have lost an infant or a child or during pregnancy. So we want everyone to feel like they're included, to kind of be a part of this. And we're also trying to, to keep it also a celebration of life. So we are going to have some kid activities. We've had someone donated some time to come in and face paint butterflies on some children. And then
I've done that at my church.
Yeah. Broadway Play has donated some items for children to paint and do a few things. So
I want to ask you about that 1-mile walk. Is it a half mile up and a half mile back? Okay.
Can you count your trip from the car to the theater?
No, it's
If you're
half
counting
up and
steps
half
again.
back, and there will be a water station there for you too.
I can't figure out my stupid
I believe it's
watch.
West Banco is
That was
sponsoring the water station, and Hewlett's Printing is also donating some banners. So and I know I've left out some organizations that have sponsored this, and I'm sorry for that. But yeah, it's going to be really
Banners for completing the walk. Is that it?
No, you don't get a banner for completing the walk. A banner's
We get a
to
medal.
let you
She's
know what
trying.
registration is, and also there's a Facebook event created for it, or you can scan this QR code. Star Legacy is an organization that supports families who have lost someone, and so the donations are going there. You can, if you want to donate, you want to, you don't have to. The event is totally free. Show up and just support the family and other families there as well.
Butterfly Kisses, Infant
Yes.
and Child Loss Awareness Walk. Very nice, yeah, very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah. You have something? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Judge. I just want to remind the community about the free community event that we're going to have out at Lakeview Park, movie night. We will start the event with a cruise in at 4 o'clock.
What day?
That is October 22nd.
Okay.
Thank you to our IT coordinator for getting that up on the screen. Appreciate that. So cruise in will start at 4 p.m. Kentucky Backroads Cruising is going to take care of that for us. They are also going to participate with members of Franklin County government for the trunk or treat, which will be from 5 to 7, and that's going to be on the top rim of the horse arena. Sheriff Chris Quire has stepped up to kind of really put a sweet touch on the event as well, with the free scoop of ice cream, absolutely. And Hoggies will be on site to take care of that. And then the movie Beetlejuice will be shown at approximately 7:30. I mean, a lot of it depends on the darkness, etc. So, unfortunately, there is no rain event because this is an outdoor event, and if it rains, as it did last year when we did the event, we went ahead and showed the movie, and folks turned, rather than sitting there on their blankets and in their chairs with their little picnic baskets, they hopped in their cars and brought them to the top rim of the horse arena, and it was sort of like a drive-in movie, so it was pretty nice. And that kept with that theme. So we really appreciate the members of the Fiscal Court. We appreciate Traditional Bank. We appreciate Sheriff Quire. We appreciate Kentucky Backroads Cruising and everybody who's had a hand and will have a hand on that Saturday in making this a special event. So we encourage all families to come out because it's free. Our park director's here, so there may be some things that he might want to share.
Have you heard from the Abracadabra about the banners?
He has them, as you know. He told me he would be getting back with me, and I may have them in hand tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay? So as soon as I get them,
You'll take them out.
I'll put them in
I'll see
your
if I can get
hands.
Marty Stewart to come out there, I'll be, he's
He's sold out, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen him about 10 times, so,
All right, Squire Tracy?
Just a couple things, Judge.
thank you.
Just to give an update to the court, we had a road committee meeting. We all are aware that, I think we had a little under 5 million budgeted for a new road facility. We got numbers. I would think maybe Squire Moore and Judge Wells can help me. I think they call them soft numbers, but it's right at about 7. And we've asked.
7 million?
Yeah, and they have been asked to go back and see if they can tighten the belt. Yeah, so there's a couple different things that they're looking at, and they're supposed to bring them back to us. And then I would assume we'll have them go back and try to tighten the belt again, and we'll see where we're headed. Judge, would that be accurate?
Squire
Can I
Muller?
ask a question?
Sure.
To anybody on that committee? So, soft numbers are just budget numbers, right? So like,
He
they
said
will
they
they'll
were
bid everything out.
exaggerated.
But they'll bid everything out, like each
Yes.
package, right?
Yes.
Okay, so they're probably shooting a little high, be on the
He
safe
said
side.
he was.
Okay, all right, thank you. Just making sure.
They've got
And,
200,000 for underground utilities.
And
I think that's way high.
Okay.
And there were some changes that probably could have some semi-significant reductions. Yes, Squire Tracy, Squire Moore, and myself.
Okay,
In the conversation, we looked at other alternatives, some ideas for things, and I think that we'll get it down. I'm not sure to what point, but what we saw, and it will come back to you all to look at, but it is really a nice facility.
So were the employees involved at all?
Yes,
Okay.
and
I
are
know we
still
talked
involved.
about that. Okay,
So,
good. Just wanna
so
make
they
sure.
were involved as we talked the other day, whatever day that was, and then as we left, they were still involved in talking
good.
about it. So yes, the employees are involved.
Good.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, sir.
No, I was just gonna say, I would anticipate options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would anticipate them,
Yeah, and
them bringing
that's a great
options.
point, because they looked at alternative 1, alternative 2, and looked at it, you can go this route or this route, and so, yeah, there'll be options, and a lot of those options will be savings.
Good.
Go ahead, Squire Blackman. I'm sorry, Squire Tracy, I'm sorry, I apologize.
No, just one more thing. Would it be possible to have someone, whoever's spearheading this CARES coalition, because I think we found out tonight there's a lot of unanswered questions. Would it be possible to have whoever that individual is, come and just give us an update on the process, where they're at, who isn't?
I think.
Yeah, who is members? Is that possible? If so, can we get that on the November 4th?
Yeah, I'll reach out to the
Thank you.
city.
Okay. Squire Blackburn?
I just want to remind the public that we're in the midst of our comprehensive update plan, and I think it's a formative document that's going to help guide not just our community, but our region moving forward. And it's the website's distilled together. If you click up there on the top, it has an engage button. It gives you an opportunity to, I think our, got to go all the way to the right.
What's the?
Underneath our,
You can grab that and pull it down for me if you want.
What is the URL for that? I can't read it, I'm
I
sorry.
just typed in distilled together.
Okay,
And,
distilltogether.com, okay.
And that website kind of shows you the meetings that have already happened. It has a summary for each advisory committee meeting, things that have happened there. They have the listing of all the upcoming meetings. It also has a countdown of the next meeting. The next meeting is going to be the 18th. It's an advisory meeting. It's going to be about parks and open spaces and conservation, things like that. But I really think the community needs to be involved. Everybody wants to talk about, we need this and we need that. They need to do it here so we can all get our ideas together and condensed and figured out. I think this is the huge. This is the guiding document of our future. So I want everybody to be involved and it to be as diverse as possible.
Yes.
You've asked that before, so are we seeing more people getting involved?
Not yet, but I think we've had good turnout. We've had, the consultants have said the expected turnout, but they're very flexible with input. You know, if they're holding a meeting and somebody has a question, they'll stop and let them answer it. It's been inclusive. It's been very inclusive, and I just think if you want to have input, this is a great opportunity. And I would like to see more input from the community.
Where's it gonna be? I forgot.
Well, let's look at this website and
I
find
think it's
out.
in the library
Okay.
on 18th. is
Yeah, but
next
the
meeting.
first public engagement, the next public engagement coming up, I'll have to click and find it here. Public
It's up on
engagement.
screen.
You got it up there?
Yeah. I can't-
River room
Wednesday,
at the
18th.
library.
Living room at the library, and
2:30.
there you go.
Tuesday,
So,
October the 18th, next.
And everything is October 18th.
Yeah.
is that
And
advisory?
it is.
That might be an
It's
advisory
true.
committee.
15th.
That's an advisory committee. That's not the public meeting. But you're welcome to come. They're open. So I just encourage everybody to be a part of it.
Okay,
Uh,
thank you for telling us about it.
On that same note, several years ago, I was on that committee, and we worked very hard, as you are, and we put the trees along streets in the yards and out of that sidewalk to street area, because it creates hazards, it creates work for the city and county. But the planning commission took it out and put them back in the utility easement. And it creates problems
Oh, yeah.
for
Gosh, yeah.
utilities, it creates problems for walkers, and it creates problems for pedestrians. And I think as a fiscal court, we need to put them back in the road, back in the yards,
Whenever in McGraw.
and send that back to the planning commission. Because if you try to pull out of Lowe's in those bushes, you can't even see. If you're in a car, you
You're
can't
right.
even see to get out because
Right.
of those bushes. And trees do the same thing. And now they've got them running up and down Second Street, and when those trees bush out, you're not gonna be able to see to get out of those stop sign, locations.
I think they need to hear your voice at that
They
next
do,
meeting,
they
Lambert.
do. Yeah, that's,
Well, you know when it is.
Go ahead, Squire Muller.
So I want to bring everybody up to speed. You know, if you remember about a year ago, we kind of entered in with Lakeview Park and the school system to build the mountain bike pump track on their grounds, but it was kind of a Lakeview Park project kind of kickoff event. Squire Blackburn here in his class helped build the ramps and things like that that's going to be installed over there. We literally have one more day probably, and it's ready for use. So I talked to Mark Kopp, and we'll be setting a date to at least present it to the school board, you know, so they know, and then hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to get them out there maybe with the fiscal court and do a ribbon cutting. So I just want to bring everybody up to speed on that.
Is it a school board property?
It's school property. It's in the back. It's right near the YMCA, you know, where the Lakeview Park is back there. So that's where it was built. So, but it's, you know, I consider it a joint effort with kind of the master plan, the Lakeview Park and the school. So it's a good cooperation. Like I said, Squire Blackburn jumped in and helped out too. So, been building it with the
Where's
Mountain
the
Bike
beginning
Association.
of that trail?
It's just, it's all right there together. It's a, they call it a mountain bike pump track. So last year was the first year ever that mountain biking is part of the curriculum in high schools now.
Oh.
So Franklin County is on a team, I think, with Woodford County, but they didn't have a practice facility. So as we were out at the park and kind of looking at things, we kind of presented it. I personally went to the school board and presented it. And it
Does
was
it start at the Stedman Town Lane?
no, this is just it's for like dirt bikes, like mountain bikes. It's back near the
It's a smaller
YMCA.
track.
Yeah, it's only
Go back in there by the Sally Gaines softball.
About the what, softball?
Softball complex.
yeah back where the
Right in.
YMCA parking is, and that gravel lot, back where the little fields are in the back there. So we'll hopefully do
Back
some
in there.
signage and stuff. But I just want to bring everybody up to speed where we were on that, just
Okay.
with parks and everything. So
Good idea.
Yep.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay, 7:16, let's go 5 minutes. 5 minutes recess. You can do it in 5 minutes, Denver. Go. 5 minute recess, everybody.
You can do it.
you can do it.
everybody. This is the Franklin County Fiscal Court regular voting meeting for October the 13th, 2022. Clerk, call the roll.
Squire Sebastian.
Here.
Squire Blackburn.
Present.
Squire Muller.
Present.
Squire Tracy.
Here.
Squire Booth.
Present.
Squire Moore.
Here.
Judge Wells.
Here. Okay. Next item on the agenda is authorization for approval of minutes from a regular meeting of September the 23rd, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Squire Sebastian.
Yes.
Squire Blackburn.
Yes.
Squire Muller.
Yes.
Squire Tracy.
Yes.
Squire Booth.
Yes.
Squire Moore.
Yes.
Judge Wells.
Yes. Next item is authorization for approval of the minutes from our special meeting of October the 10th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Call the roll.
Squire Sebastian.
Yes.
Squire Blackburn.
Yes.
Squire Muller.
Yes.
Squire Tracy.
Yes.
Squire Booth.
I was not there.
You can still vote on them though.
Okay, yes then.
Okay. Squire Moore.
I wasn't there, but yes.
Judge Wells.
Yes. Next item is authorization to receive the county clerk's quarterly report for 9 months ending September 30th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All right, let's call the roll.
Squire Sebastian.
Yes.
Squire Blackburn.
Yes.
Squire Muller.
Yes.
Squire Tracy.
Yes.
Squire Booth.
Yes.
Squire Moore.
Yes.
Judge Wells.
Yes. Next item is a very, very exciting opportunity that has come about. It's authorization to approve a resolution in support of entering into an agreement with the Wanda Joyce Robinson Foundation for the United States Department of Justice grant of about $739,000.
239.
So moved.
Amen. 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 All right. Blackburn and Muller.
No.
I had Squire
Sherry.
Sebastian.
Sebastian. Okay, I'm sorry.
yeah.
It's
I
okay.
just
all
was
good.
looking at you.
It's all
Okay.
good.
Sorry.
All right. Call the roll.
Squire Sebastian.
Yes.
Squire Blackburn.
I know the amount of effort and work that Amy Snow's put into this. Everything she does with excellence and all her heart. And the good that this organization is going to do for our community and for the kids in our community and for the parents of those kids. And with the help of Ann and other staff here at the Fiscal Court, I think it's an outstanding opportunity for our whole community, and I'm a big yes, Judge.
Okay. You normally, when you're a big yes.
Big yes.
You got to continue that on the next item. Go ahead.
Squire Muller.
Yes.
Squire Tracy.
What a great opportunity and a great job being proactive and looking for ways to move this organization's mission forward. Yes.
Squire Booth.
Yes.
Squire Moore.
You need to get these people to work with the Salmon House, and yes.
Judge Wells.
Let's, as Squire Blackburn said, Amy Snow is fantastic. She is doing God's work and trying to help so many of our kids in our community. And this name hasn't been mentioned, but I want to say a big thank you to Dale Robinson.
Absolutely.
Because this is his family, and Dale has been so instrumental in doing the same type of work. And so thank you to Dale and all the Robinson family, and Wandale as well.
Everyone.
Everyone in that family has been great. So we're all fortunate, and we praise the Lord for this kind of funding. So I vote yes. A big yes. A J.W. Blackburn yes. Okay. The next item is authorization to approve financial support to the City of Frankfort for town gown banners highlighting alumni and staff of Kentucky State University from past years in the amount of $1,000.
Judge, quick question. Is this request for moving forward like in the upcoming budget, or is this like a reimbursement? Because what we received is like a plan, and I guess what's already hung and probably paid for is this flag. So do you have any idea if this?
Got the county on it, this one does, the hanging does not.
So the email should be attached in your packet to the request from Commissioner Waldridge. However, and I think the city, I guess, works a little differently from the county, and whereas Fiscal Court approves all expenses, and so Judge Wells responded that he would have to bring it to Fiscal Court. There was no other communication that I'm aware of from Commissioner Waldridge, and it does appear that they have moved forward without the county, and probably because of timing, because I think that they needed to get them up immediately. It's just that we didn't have another court meeting until today.
Could we,
I know you're
Could
going,
we
I'm
ask
getting ready to
for
go that same way.
okay, go ahead.
No, there's need to
Table
be
it.
some contingency here
Yes,
that we
sir.
just can't pay, Commissioner, no offense to Commissioner Walter, we cannot give her $1,000. There needs to be some type of receipts and invoices that this would go towards this project. And this, we would need some clarification if this is for next year, or will that be all?
The future
put up?
banners, right?
Yes, sir, that was gonna be my
Yeah.
dovetail to your
agree.
question. So could we possibly table this item and seek out that clarification that you're
Before we
pointing
do?
out before we do anything, just so we understand the.
Would it be better to?
Or go ahead and,
Go ahead and approve it, but contingent upon those factors being given to us, and then it would be for future use, and
I'm okay, yes, sir, I think it's a good plan.
Okay. All right.
So the motion has
Yes,
to
we're gonna
be,
do that, I'm okay.
somebody has to amend the motion then, right?
All right.
Well, I think the judge
I'll-
offered it very well.
Could you say that again, Judge?
Yeah, let's do it again. All right.
He
That-
did so.
all right,
the motion?
all right.
I thought he
Here
did
we
so
go.
very well.
Contingent of the authorization, all the verbiage, contingent upon this being for future banners, and with receipts or invoices given to the county for these banners that are being used presently.
So moved.
Second.
That's good.
Okay? All right. Call the roll.
Squire Sebastian?
Yes.
Squire Blackburn?
Yes.
Squire Muller?
Yes.
Squire Tracy?
Yes.
Squire Booth?
Yes,
Squire Moore?
Yes.
Judge Wells?
Yes. Next item is authorization to approve a donation to the Franklin County Humane Society in the amount of $50,000 for assistance with the cost of road construction to the new animal shelter.
so moved.
Anyone else? I'll second it.
Yeah.
Call the roll.
Squire Sebastian?
Well, I've given a lot of thought to this, and I heard my fellow Squire Moore, say that, and I know the court is aware of this, that he had reviewed the Humane Society property to provide an estimate on the road and the cost for that before any work commenced on the site. He did so, and he shared again tonight that he estimated a minimum of $500,000 for that purpose. And again, that was prior to first shovel of dirt turning on the property. Given that, and that there was no formal request in our packet, there was no budget provided in our material for review. And, I think the court has made a number of goodwill gestures for quite some time with the Humane Society. We initially secured property for this new facility, and then the Humane Society opted to go another route. And I think our counselor has shared a number of times that he worked laboriously to in that process. The court back in FY20 initially pledged $800,000 toward this entire effort. Then again in '22 we came back and added another $200,000. So at that point, there's $1 million that we've committed to taking care of animals in our community, and I think that's definitely a very solid and long-term goodwill commitment. So with that, $1 million committed on this, and the number of needs that we have in our community for all of our humans that we are trying to serve going into the winter. I'm going to be a no on this.
Squire Blackburn?
No.
Squire Muller?
Yeah, I'd like to just say that I am very proud of this fiscal court here for coming up with that $1 million. I think that was a strong gesture. Sounds like they put some things back in the plan that maybe they shouldn't have because money was tight. And with the sewer department using that road and making them put it in, I just don't understand what's going on. And I just, as much as I'd like to, we have a lot of other needs in this community, so I'm a no.
Squire Tracy?
No.
Squire Booth?
Yes,
Squire Moore?
No.
Judge Wells?
Yes, I think it's needed. I understand they're in a tight situation. I think let's not, for the court's sake, for our community's sake, let's not undervalue what is being done there. They are doing the best they can under the circumstances and raising the money, and we are on the verge of having a very nice new humane society, and thank God for that, to get that out off of the river. So I vote yes, because I appreciate the hard work that they're doing to try to get this facility open. Okay, the next item on the agenda is
Can we stop for just a second? So the budget transfer that you all will be voting on includes a transfer on this. So anything that you all do not approve that we vote on that's on that, the motion will need to reflect that you approve it, excluding whatever items that
Well, that
fail.
didn't pass, so let's just take that out. We'll just make
Well,
that
I'm just
out.
saying when we get there, they'll
Okay.
need to make that motion.
Okay.
Okay. You need to amend the motion. Is that what you mean?
Amend the budget transfer.
Oh, yes.
Amy's here, she'll help us, Amy.
Yeah, we
You're
talked
writing
about
that down,
this.
Amy, right?
We talked about this today.
She's got it. She's been making notes all night.
Yes.
Thank you, Amy. The next item is authorization to approve a donation to the Bluegrass Community Foundation in the amount of $2,500 for an anchor sponsorship of Umbrella Alley.
Judge, may I ask a
You
question
may.
here? I had asked Ms. Hardy while she was here, and maybe others asked too, if this was a ongoing donation or a one-time. So can we amend this motion and put in there the words that she said that this was a one-time
One-time.
donation? Yes, sir. Would the court be amenable for that?
We're okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's do that. One time. Authorization to approve a donation to the Bluegrass Community Foundation in the amount of $2,500 for an anchor sponsorship of Umbrella Alley. This will be a one-time donation. Okay? Okay?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Call the roll.
Square Sebastian?
Yes.
Square Blackburn?
Yes.
Square Muller?
Yes.
Square Tracy?
Yes.
Square Booth?
Yes.
Square Moore?
Yes.
Judge Wells?
Yes. Next item is authorization to approve a resolution approving a donation of $100,000 to the Simon House to assist with providing overnight services for the homeless population.
Judge, may I ask another
You
question?
may.
Thank you. I know Franklin County is so fortunate that our county attorney and the fiscal court had the foresight to be one of the very first communities to engage in the opioid legislation that was national. And we have been told that funds are coming our way. We've talked tonight extensively about the tremendous need in our community and talked about the ongoing nature of the problem here and how we can be part of the solution to address that. So I also heard in asking the questions tonight that there has been a pledge of $50,000 from another organization. So I'm going to ask this, and my brethren on the court can weigh in. Could we possibly amend this motion to reflect $50,000 donation to the Simon House with the knowledge and awareness that additional funding is coming to address this for the opioid settlement? Now, please, I'm
Afraid if we don't, this isn't gonna pass. So I think that's a good
wanting to
idea.
hear back from my brethren on the court about your thoughts in this regard.
Tamara, can we?
Well, I was gonna vote no, so 50,000 is a lot easier to swallow than 100.
Yeah.
And besides,
I'm good.
like you said, on the Humane Society, we kept giving them money. Well, we have kept giving the Simon House money over several years.
So,
Okay.
I'm
so
just
here's-
asking the
so,
court what your
I
thoughts
think
are.
we can go with a motion to give $50,000 with any additional monies that you have to say that could be appropriated through the opioid monies, 50,000 of it, or 50,000 additional monies, or more monies could be coming. I'm sorry to mess all
That's,
that
I'm
up.
like
But
you,
you're trying
I don't know how to say
I
that,
don't
so.
think we need to put an exact amount, but we
Well-
need to say.
We just say 50,000, and
Yeah,
if this
just say
doesn't come
50.
through,
Yes,
like they
sir.
said, they're meeting an
Yeah.
immediate need, we could always come back in 4 months, 4.5
Yes.
months, 6
To
months,
square
and then address it again
Okay.
before
At
they
that
have to
point,
close.
yes, sir.
We don't want them to close their doors.
Correct.
Okay.
And I think that's how that would be my suggestion as well, Squire Blackburn. I appreciate you jumping in with that.
All right,
Is that amenable to
that's
everyone?
fair, yeah. I mean, that's, Go ahead.
I'll make the motion
You
since
got
I spoke on that, in that regard.
Second.
okay? Everybody understand?
Yes, have
We're
you got
changing
that down?
from 100 to 50, and to see where more monies come in.
Yes, sir.
Possibility of more monies coming in.
Possibility of more money's coming in.
Okay, go ahead.
Squire Sebastian,
Yes.
Squire Blackburn,
Yes.
Squire Muller,
Yes.
Squire Tracy,
Yes.
Squire Booth,
Yes,
Squire Moore,
Yes.
Judge Wells.
Yes, I was for the 100, but I take 50 over nothing, so that's great. Thank you, Court. And I think it needs, Dan, all of us need to understand that this court is very much aware of the issue. And the issue is humanity.
Yes.
And what is going on here in our community as well as everywhere else. So at least the court saw it from the side of, we're gonna do what we can to help.
And the thing is the court was an advocate of that early on
Yep.
in this entire process. You know, with the county attorney spearheading that effort for the court. So that's kudos to this group for having the foresight and the backbone and the will to get that done. I
Okay.
agree.
Next item is authorization to approve a resolution authorizing the county judge executive to execute a memorandum of agreement with the Frankfurt Plank Board for providing fiber optic links and internet access to county-owned facilities.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Squire Sebastian.
Yes.
Squire Blackburn,
I want to thank Andrew for getting on top of this. Appreciate it, Andrew. I mean, yes.
Squire Muller.
Yes.
Squire Tracy.
Yes.
Squire Booth,
yes,
Squire Moore,
Yes.
Judge Wells.
Yes. Next item is authorization to approve a resolution authorizing the filing of an application with the Kentucky Fire Commission grant program for grant funds to be used for the purchase of extrication equipment for the fire department.
So moved.
second. Oh, he said it first.
He said it first with his second?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Okay, Squire Sebastian.
Yes.
Squire Blackburn,
I think it's great that the chief takes every opportunity to get grant funding, and this has no match on this particular one, and that's great. Free money's great. Yes.
Squire Muller.
Yes.
Squire Tracy.
Yes.
Squire Booth,
yes,
Squire Moore,
Yes.
Judge Wells.
Yes. Next item is authorization to approve a resolution authorizing the filing of an application with the Kentucky Association of Counties, otherwise known as KACO, for grant funds to be used for the purchase of lifting equipment for the fire department.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Squire Sebastian.
Yes.
Squire Blackburn.
Yes.
Squire Muller.
Yes.
Squire Tracy.
Yes.
Squire Booth,
yes,
Squire Moore,
Yes.
Judge Wells.
Yes. Next item is authorization to approve the designation of land for the fire department to use.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Squire Sebastian.
Yes.
Squire Blackburn.
Yes.
Squire Muller.
Yes.
Squire Tracy.
Yes.
Squire Booth,
yes,
Squire Moore,
Yes.
Judge Wells.
Yes. The next item is authorization to approve a resolution relating to the acquisition of land identified as 129.99 acre property located at 67 Buena Vista Drive, further known as Property Valuation Administrator Map Number 095-00-00-016- or .02 from Duckers Lake Links LLC in the amount of $850,000.
So moved.
second.
Call the roll.
Squire Sebastian.
This is a tremendous opportunity for Franklin County, and I vote yes.
Squire Blackburn.
I agree with,
Squire Sebastian.
absolutely, I agree with Squire Sebastian, and I'm grateful we had this opportunity, and I think the price is outstanding. It gives us a myriad of opportunities in the future, and it is in the wonderful second district.
Yeah, but one's always gonna be one, baby.
And let's don't get Lambert in this
Yeah,
conversation.
he's always
Keep
right.
going.
Okay.
Big yes.
All right,
Hey,
Squire,
I like it.
I like that big yes.
Squire Muller.
This is a day in history for Franklin County.
agree.
It truly is. I mean, this is monumental, and I think this court has shown that we're really wanting to improve everybody's quality of life in Franklin County. I'm a big yes.
Squire Tracy.
A great opportunity for our community, so yes.
Squire Booth,
Yes,
Squire Moore,
agree with Gabby Johnson on this. And I'm glad these kids were here today to hear this. Yes.
Judge Wells.
You can do it for Randolph Scott, that's all I'm gonna say.
You lost me. I don't know. I got nothing.
That just went completely
Yeah.
over my head.
Mine too. Mine too.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't ask.
Don't ask.
Wow.
We're gonna stay down here.
All right. As I sit at this table and I see all of you, there's a few of us that have grandchildren. There's all the rest of you have children. And this is for their future. This really is a visionary piece of property that this community can grow with, can turn into many, there's so many, it's unlimited. The sky's the limit on what can go here. And as part of this, I would like to have the court, or talk with the court about a viewing and having the public come out and see the facility in the real near future. In a couple weeks, we'll give it time to kind of get it cleaned up and straightened up. But I'd like to have us have a public viewing.
Like an open house.
Like an open house. They'll come out and see it. Maybe Charlie can get a few golf carts out there. We'll try to get some things for people to come out and see it and see the great potential that is on the horizon with this wonderful investment in our community.
And make it part of the, oh, yeah, open house, that's right.
Okay.
Don't forget to.
Absolutely yes. As JW said,
Absolutely.
a big yes.
Big yes.
All right. And thank you. Thank you. I mean, I sit here and
And
it
you
brings.
remember that time long
I
ago where
do,
you
I
got
do, but
the
I-
chance to buy a wonderful property, but it was voted down.
And it got away from us.
Yeah.
Don't let, and you didn't. So you'll go down in history as not letting something like that get away from you.
All good.
Go for you, Marty. Go, go, go. The next item is authorization to approve a salary increase for Lakeview Park Golf Course Green Superintendent Josh Ernst from $25.38 to $28 per hour.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Squire Sebastian.
Yes.
Squire Blackburn.
Yes.
Squire Muller.
Yes.
Squire Tracy.
Yes.
Squire Booth.
Yes.
Squire Moore.
Yes.
Judge Wells.
Yes, thank you, Josh Ernst, for your great work.
Well, there you go, John.
The next item is authorization to approve budget transfers for the fiscal year 2022, 2023.
And amended
I
budget.
make
An
a
amendment.
motion, we make that transfer without the,
Yes.
Well, then the other
We will
50,000.
remove the 50,000, and reduce the 100,000 to 50,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Squire Sebastian.
Yes.
Squire Blackburn.
Yes.
Squire Muller.
Yes.
Squire Tracy.
Yes.
Squire Booth.
Yes.
Squire Moore.
yes.
Judge Wells.
Yes, next item is authorization to receive the treasurer's quarterly report for 3 months ending September 30th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Squire Sebastian.
Yes.
Squire Blackburn.
Yes.
Squire Muller.
Yes.
Squire Tracy.
Yes.
Squire Booth.
Big yes.
Squire Moore.
Yes.
Judge Wells.
Marty's on it.
Amy enjoyed you saying that, Marty. Good
Good.
for you.
Good.
Yes. Next item is authorization to receive the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Squire Sebastian.
Yes, and welcome again, Amy.
Squire Blackburn.
Yes.
Squire Muller.
Yes.
Squire Tracy.
Yes.
Squire Booth.
Yes.
Squire Moore.
Yes.
Judge Wells.
Yes, and to the general public that's here, you hear us bring up the name Amy. It's Amy Quantman.
Quatman.
Thank you. I've tried to say it correctly. Thank you. I got it. But Amy is our new treasurer, and I'm so impressed with her. She has done such a fantastic job. I come in every morning and I look and see if she's here, and I say, "I'm so glad you're here."
I think we all do, actually.
Peeking around the
Well, thank you, Amy. Thank you, Amy.
Amy, but look how much quicker she goes through these meetings than Susan. That's great. I love Susan, but
Well, there's another thankfulness,
been
huh?
holding us back.
Susan.
I know Susan's watching.
I
so-
guarantee she's watching.
I know you're laughing, Susan.
Here, so the
All right,
Camera can-
payment of
Thorough.
claims. Is, I didn't say yes to that. Is there a motion to deny any payment of any claims? Seeing none, let the record reflect. The claims are to be paid. And with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Squire Sebastian,
Just want to remind everyone to come to the movie night at Lakeview Park, Saturday, October 22nd. Everything starts at 4 o'clock. See you there. Trick or treat, movie, and ice cream. Yes.
okay, Squire Blackburn.
I want to remind everybody to participate in the comprehensive plan, go to Distilled Together, and be a part of that.
Yes.
Okay, Squire Muller,
I'm easy, yes.
Squire Tracy,
Yes.
Squire Booth,
Yes.
Squire Moore,
I've got food left over, yes.
Judge Wells.
Is that?
Yes, we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Here you go. Oh,
Thank you.